Da-da-dun, 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 da-da-dun. Listen, NFL is back in about 7 days. Next Thursday is the Hall of Fame game. But tonight, thank y'all for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. We are here in the receipts room. It's receipts night. And tonight's receipts room is about a couple of numbers. Let's start with this number 53.4%. That's the percentage of NFL players who are black in 2026. More than half of the men on the field. More than half of the highlights, black men. More than half of the players' jerseys being sold, black men. More than half of the fantasy teams being drafted and the touchdown being celebrated, black men. Putting monies in all of our pockets, right? Human monies. And then there is this number, 0. That's the number of black majority owners in the NFL has had in 106 years of existence. 0. Not 0 this year. I'm talking about 106 years of the entire existence. That's 0 ever. 32 teams, 106 years, not one black majority owner. Bless you. And tonight, we're going to go all the way back in time to 1920 to show you how we got here and why, in our opinion, it did not happen by accident.
Now, again, Receipts Room is a place where we do not bring our pain. So let's not do that for me. The thing that makes it worse, because these are facts, is that this previous offseason of 2026, as excited as I have been, my boys know, I've been watching old 2003 YouTube jacked up highlights, bro. Like, I have a football itch. For some reason, it does have a resemblance of a religion.
Madden 27 comes out next week.
The thing about it is that as I'm excited about this upcoming season, the off season gave us 10 head coaching vacancies that opened up, were interviewed for, and not one black hire. So about 10 seats at the table, and the NFL did exactly what it was required to do. Every team has to interview a black guy under the Rooney Rule, and then after they check that box, they hire who the hell they wanted to do. And that resulted in this upcoming season, 3 out of 32 coaches will be black. Now, again, we've had the conversation about merit and opportunity, and is it required? But the fact remains, 10 jobs, not one dark-skinned brother was required to lead those 54% of the men. 0. That's unacceptable. And Roger Goodell said it himself. He's called it, in his own words, unacceptable. But who cares what Raj has to say? It's only like the 5th time he's said it since he became commissioner in 2003. And nothing's been done about
it. How's that for DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion? Come on now. Listen, tap in, guys. This is everything is. This is the Receipt Room. We're on Monday through Friday, 9:30 Eastern on YouTube and Twitch. Thank y'all for joining us. If y'all are here, hit that subscribe button. Hit the follow. Drop a like. Ring that bell icon, and definitely leave some comments on this conversation because we want to hear what y'all got to say.
Listen, never forget who we are. You looking at Chitty Bang. You looking at the Joint Roll Ayatollah. We are the Zeitgeist. We are the culture. Bringing it to you live and direct in your face. How you like it.
And stick around because tonight we're going to we're going from essentially from the 1920s with Fritz Pollard, first black quarterback, to 2026 in the hiring cycle. We are reading the Rooney Rule, full record out loud. We are breaking down why the Belichick text message and the Brian Flores lawsuit is the receipt that explains everything. And we're asking the question that Deion Sanders asked. If you want equality, do you start with coaches or do you start with the owners? Okay. They play 53% of the snaps. They coach 9% of the teams. They own 0% of the league. This is not a pipeline problem, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a pipeline problem. This is a power problem. As always, it goes down to the power. So pull up and let's get into it. One second. I got something I want to share with y'all. Before we kick this off, let's actually get the words from the great Deion Sanders himself.
What would you suggest to the commissioner about hiring practices in the NFL with minorities?
I would go different. I wouldn't. I'm not fighting for the coaches. I'm a guy that's an advocate for ownership. I would want to expand into 3 more cities. I would say, let's expand to 3 more cities. In 3 of those cities, we have to mandate African-American or ethnic ownership. Then let it roll wherever it may be. But it has to be a mandate. 3 cities, wherever those are, has to be ethnic owned. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Instead
of going at the middle level, let's go to the top and see where it falls.
But, Deion, it feels like every year it's Groundhog Day, and the commissioner has his State of the Union, and we keep talking about the hiring practices, and then next thing you know, we got a Super Bowl, and then we move on to the Combine, and then the draft, and then we forget about all of this stuff.
You can't make no billionaire hire who he doesn't want to hire. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You can't make me hire a cook or a housekeeper that I don't want to hire in my house. That's my house.
Yeah.
You're not going to come here and tell me what to do in my house. That's not going to happen. So let's just go to the top. I'd rather us own the house, then we call the shots in the house.
Wise words from a wise man, Deion Sanders, man. And
Deion ain't never been no nigga who was dumb. Right? Deion ain't never been took the part of somebody who didn't know how to get to the chicken. You know what I'm saying? He know the real chicken is at the top of ownership. Like, he know the real chicken is who owns the team. Now, again, do we have a black billionaire who can wield his money, or do we have to get an ownership group where everybody got put in? You know what I'm saying?
There's black billionaires out there. There's Robert F. Smith.
People were saying that's what Jay-Z was trying to do. They were saying Jay-Z was trying to, sugarfoot himself in there, so he can be accepted, because it's a good boy. Like, they have to, first and foremost, I think people have to understand, you have to be voted in. That's the thing, right? And I think a lot of people don't.
Why?
You said why?
Well, why is that the rule? Like, you got to be voted in to own a team, right? If you got the money and you got the connections,
that's why
and you got
call it a good boys club. That's why they call it a good boys club. Yeah.
And let's talk. Like, I think we want to dive into that tonight because there's a lot of weird shit that's going on, and I had a little rant like to Chris before we got on air about, listen, man, like they're using black bodies for profit. And that's just how it's always been here in America, right? And it's not to say that these black bodies aren't making their careers well known and becoming legends in their own right and making money, but at the same time, when it goes to when you look at the the spreadsheet of the portion of money going towards these black bodies and the amount of money that's revenue being driven towards this multi-billion-dollar, maybe even trillion-dollar sport, the percentage that goes to these players is not even close to what's actually coming in. Not even close.
Not close.
So
now, and I don't know if you heard, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I don't know if you've heard or if you know, the Green Bay Packers, the team, is owned by the community. Like that is a community-owned nonprofit run by a board team.
okay.
So they don't have a sole owner. Their money goes back into the community.
Would you feel better if every team was like that?
Bro, the number that they reported that came in is just from one stream of revenue. Just one stream of revenue that was made public. $425 million check.
And what was that
That's
revenue
just
stream?
one stream. I'm about to check it out right now.
Okay.
I'm
Well, yes,
right now.
I'm definitely curious on that. But that's just one. Think about that. There's
one,
that's jersey sales. You got licensing fees. You got the rights to TV. There's so many different things that go into this. To make it run. So I just want to just dive into that tonight. We're going to get into the receipts in a second. Obviously, we're going to give it a little bit of emotion here because I do feel passionate about this conversation. But before we get into all that, you guys please hit that subscribe button, hit that like bell, hit the follow, hit all that good shit, hit the ring, the bell icon. We can ring the alarm whenever we go live or whenever we drop some content for y'all. Y'all get the heads up. But yeah, we are everything is. We are the zeitgeist. We are the culture. And we're bringing to you live the receipt room tonight on the NFL ownership. Before we go into anything, let me just ask my brother Chris, how you feel?
I gotta keep my buddy on the rails, bro. Emotions is not meant for receipt night. You gotta put your journalistic tie on. You know what I'm saying? When that red light going for receipts room.
How you feeling, brother? I'm good. How are you feeling?
I'm
gonna be all right. I'm gonna be all right. But yes, I do feel like that black people deserve some ownership at some point. But go ahead.
I mean, deserve. I think let's just roll right into it. Deserve, absolutely. Now, how do we get that? Right? I think that's one of the biggest keys. And I know you asked, why do they have to vote someone in? It's to quote unquote ensure absolute control over the league's financial stability, public reputation, and operational unity. So again, they have an exclusive club membership, and you have to pass their sniff test. Not only have the money and equity to do so, but you have to be able to play their game, right?
Sounds like a secret society.
Sounds like access trust. Because if you come into this, you can't come in there to change the rules. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you come into this, you can't be. Now, think about this. Think about what Deion's saying.
You shouldn't be voted in. You should be able to sign a document that says you're going to abide by the rules. And then if not, we have rights to then sue. That's what it should be. It shouldn't be like, I get to decide as Jerry Jones if I like that guy over there. I think that sounds kind of weird to me, off of his merit. And if he's,
that's how we got Donald Trump as president. I want everybody to remember, Donald Trump wanted to buy the Buffalo Bills. Donald Trump and I was opposite of John Bon Jovi and opposite of who I think Terry Pegula at the time before he bought the team. They were like the three finalists.
Okay. And
Donald thought he had an in because, again, he's Donald Trump. And those niggas is like, we already got Jerry. No way we bringing in Donald. There's no way we're gonna have Donald Trump and Jerry Jones, because again, you got to think about it. Once you vote somebody in, by the bylaws of them being there, they have to do something to then get forced out. You know what I'm saying? Like so
Yeah.
now, if we're thinking about it, if we're looking at it through time, if Donald Trump, if we're following the timeline, if he would have got in, by the scandals that have been reported since then, he would have had to sell the team. But if you think about it, Donald Sterling from the NBA, who was the previous owner of the Los Angeles Clippers, who got into his racial and said Magic Johnson, what did he do? He had AIDS, right? His punishment was to sell his team for $2 billion in cash. Steve Ballmer bought the Clippers in cash. I don't think people really like, and that's why Steve Ballmer's power in the NBA we're not talking about the NFL, we're not talking about the NBA, but when we're talking about when we let somebody in and they have money and they have influence and they have power, they can yield that to make the shield or the brand or the league look subservient to them, because nobody wants to investigate the LA Clippers and Steve Ballmer for salary cap circumvention with Kawhi Leonard. Why? Because he can buy 12 teams by himself at the evaluation cost. So that's why it's a big thing for ownership.
I'm not against like there being like morality clauses in the sale of a team, where if you're caught doing some racist shit, that should not be okay. If you're caught on a freaking if you end up being a secret, like, you know, owning a freaking sex ring, or sex trafficking ring, or if you end up owning like a freaking sweatshop, or if you are, part of some really weird undercover back insider trading, and like these morality clauses should be put in place for owning anything, much less a NFL team, an organization. My problem is the barometer of what's being acceptable being a whole other group of white men who are also billionaires and very, very rich and can own multiple, teams as well. Because that type of influence and power and narcissism tends to, and as we've seen in the course of history, be wielded in weird ways where where it's more like, rather than you being a good person, it's more of like, do you think like I do? Are you willing to let me get away with the things that you get away with?
Yes.
That's what it ends up being.
And that's what, and again, to your point, when Deion said let three minorities in, or of three
Black
owners of diversity.
Owners. I'm sorry, I love all my minorities, but when we look at the numbers of 53.4% and 0 owners that are black, I want 4 at least. Give me 4. Make it 2 on the NFC, 2 in the A, 2. I mean, if you want to throw in a minority there, all right, 3 black and 1 random. I think that would be cool, because 2 NFC, 2 AFC, teams. Expand the league. There's the money is there. I'm sure there's cities that would love to have a team. Shit. There's cities that would, already have 3. There's states that have 3. So I mean, you could probably give Texas already has 2, right? So no,
Texas got 3.
Texas got 3.
They
Texans,
got 3,
Dallas, and
Texas, Dallas, and hold on, I might be mistaken. You're right. It's Houston and Dallas. You're right. I'm thinking about basketball. Basketball, they got 3.
They got basketball. They got 3. San Antonio,
Texans,
Houston,
and
Houston and
Dallas.
Dallas, Mavericks.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that we're at the point where the league wants more games. They want to expand. I want more equity and inclusion. And this conversation is not loud enough. That's why we're bringing it to y'all today. I know we're a week away. This might be a good receipt room for actually next week because we would be a day away from the league entering, but let's get the ball rolling early, man. Training camp started this week. So
Yeah.
let's talk about it. Back in 1920, we had a man named Fritz Pollard and then Bob Marshall also they became the first two black players newly in the newly formed National Football League. Pollard was already a legend before he walked into the league. He was the first black running back named All American. Um, Now he led Brown University to a Rose Bowl, and he commanded the highest salary in pro football. So that was back in 1920. And then in 1921, the Akron Pros named him head coach, making him the first black head coach in history. Hold on a second.
What happened?
Let me see. Was Fritz Pollard the head coach in 1921?
Yeah, he was the first black head coach.
And he was the first black player in the league too?
Uh, is that what we got in our notes?
Yeah,
Hold
I
on.
think the notes might be wrong. It might just be head coach. But yeah, but it says he was
No,
also the
Fritz
first
Pollard.
black
Fritz Pollard.
quarterback.
Yeah, he was the first black. He was the first
He was
black
a
player.
coach and quarterback at the same time?
No, I don't think it was. I can check. Him and Bobby Marshall were the first two black players in the NFL in
Yeah, for sure.
1920. So let me see. I don't know if he was the first black. I mean, shit, he had. If he played quarterback and he was the first black player, he got to be the first black quarterback. Shit. And wasn't nobody playing that bitch before him. Let me double check.
Yeah, double check that real quick. But let me go ahead and
Yeah,
pull
first
up.
black quarterback. First black quarterback played for the Hammond Pros. Hammond Pros was a football team, professional football team in Hammonds, Indiana. They played in the National Football League from 1920 to 1926 as a traveling team. So he was the first black quarterback in NFL history playing that position at 1923.
1923.
Frederick Douglass Pollard. He was named after Frederick Douglass.
All right.
Frederick Douglass Fritz Pollard. That's his name.
Now, give me first black head coach and when that was.
I think he is also the first black head coach. Bear with
So he's
me.
the first black player and head coach, quarterback and head coach.
I don't think he head coached at the time he was playing head
I'm not
coach,
saying it
but
was.
I
I'm not
know.
saying it was the same time.
Okay,
But like
yeah,
he's the first for
okay.
both. Just to
Yeah, I believe he's
clarify.
the first. I believe he's the first. Yes,
Uh,
he's the first black head coach in history of the. Oh shit!
what?
He co-head coached. He co-head coached in 1921. So yeah, he
I'm
was
saying.
he was a coach and player at the
Isn't
same
that
time.
crazy? That's what I'm trying to get through my head. Like I'm like these numbers are not adding up. Like wait a minute, first black player, first black head coach. Like what? So I guess back in the day, like how the NFL was is it was like, all right, we're putting this thing together. So he was a player coach. Facts. Like he was the first player coach, like literally first player coach. But yeah, he started. He said this is a quote he had. He said it was evident in my first year at Akron back in 1919 that they didn't want blacks in there getting that money. And here I was playing and coaching and pulling down the highest salary in pro football. So
My God, the stunt was real.
he
The
broke
stunt was real.
he broke barriers. He broke barriers, man. And this is why we have this because we want to honor these legends and keep in mind I'm learning as we go along this journey here to just stay informed and stay like remove the ignorance of our history and keeping into context the lineage of Black Americans and different facets, especially now as today we're talking about the NFL. But as for him, pulling in money as a coach and a player, obviously that's incredible for 1921. But that quote rings truth to today, it was evident that they didn't want blacks and they're getting that money. And that speaks to the ownership issue, you know? That
Right
speaks
now,
to,
they don't want that blacks and they're getting that money.
yeah. And I think with the history of this country, we have to be honest about how the optics look when you have more than half of the people you're making your billions of dollars off of who are putting their bodies on the line to create an entertainment, the pretty much the biggest entertainment from an entertainment sport in America, and you're making billions off the back of them putting their bodies and lives on the risk. Let's be real. And the history of this country, when it goes back to slavery, it kind of there's a parallel there, and the fact that they understand that black athletes are special, black men, black women are special, and they use our specialness to make a whole bunch of money and profit, and then put us on a TV, while the funnel of dollars just funds goes to the top for a predominantly, you know, white owned league, if not entirely. I think there's just one other minority leader, maybe Shah Khan, for Jaguars. He might be the only other minority leader that's, owner. And then you got then you got
Carly,
then you got.
Carly right now, she's a woman.
I'm sorry.
Carly Arce.
Okay, Carly
Carly
Ursay.
Arce.
She,
Yeah.
her father passed away and passed down the team to her, so she's a minority as a woman, white woman still. But let's say her and Shah Khan. Let's get that's two. Now you got Green Bay, which is so that's three teams that are not owned by
And then
white men.
in Tennessee, she also got her third team inherited by her Amy Adams got
Amy
her
Adams,
team
she inherited from her father.
by but from Bud Adams, yeah.
Okay, we
From
got
Bud
two
Adams,
women.
yep. So two women and one uh non-white descent male.
Okay, and then we got Green Bay, which is publicly owned.
Yes.
All right, so that's four teams. So that's 28 white men who are owning teams in NFL. Correct? Am I counting correctly?
Let me make sure I'm verifying. Let me see. Minnesota's
Thank you.
owner
Fact
has
checking.
a different name. Ziggy Wilf. Let me just double check that. Who was that?
Ziggy. All right.
Okay, so
But
let's
speaking about
see.
Chris Paul, while you look that up, he coached white men who sometimes refused to take the field with him. Hotels at the time refused him, so he couldn't even get a hotel with his team. He was
Yep.
not allowed to sit with the teammates in the dining cars on trains. They need a movie on this guy. He did all that anyway. So then by 1926, all nine black players in the NFL were removed. Not through injury, not through their performance, but they just got kicked out the league just cause. So I'm
Now,
gonna
what year was that? What year was that?
1926.
1926. Wasn't that no, that was before they did the little handshake agreement. Ain't that right? So they really just wanted them niggas out the league.
Yeah.
1926. Yeah, if they kick people out in 1926, and then there's a documented gentleman's agreement in 1933, that means from 1926 to 1946, there was a 20-year period where there was no African Americans, black players in the NFL for 20 years, just simply because they didn't want them in there.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and show y'all something.
That's crazy.
1916, he attended Brown University, where he majored in chemistry and became the first black football player ever at the school, leading the team to the Rose Bowl. After serving in World War I, he was one of only 2 black players in the American Professional Football Association, the league that would later become the NFL. He faced racial slurs and threats from fans, even teammates, but Pollard once said, "I would just look at them and grin and in the next minute run for an 80-yard touchdown." Pollard was inducted into the Football Hall of Fame in 2005.
Wow, he just told that story with a smile, didn't he? Right. He was, you know.
And give me 1 second.
Fired every black player in one night. Baby, no explanation, no announcement, no paperwork, no press release, just a racist handshake deal between millionaire team owners in 1933, causing the league to go all white overnight. A conspiracy they never apologized for, did they, Colin? This is a story about how the NFL is better with black men in it. This dummy, let's call him George, was born in 1896 in West Virginia. He got rich owning 57 laundromats before buying Boston Braves, later the Washington Redskins in 1932. But George had a problem. He wanted to market his team to the racist South. So black players to him were bad for business. So he made a gentleman's agreement with every NFL team owner. No black players, period. Stars like Joe Lillard of the Chicago Cardinals and Ray Kemp of the Pittsburgh Pirates cut, and the NFL became a white-only league. Even though owners like Halas wanted Kenny Washington, a UCLA star who in 1939 led the nation with 1,370 yards of total offense and was called the greatest player they'd ever seen. But George said, "We'll sign Negroes when the Harlem Globetrotters sign whites." But then the LA Rams tried to move into the Coliseum. Black journalists like Hallie Harding rallied, and the NAACP organized advocating for black taxpayers, and black city councilmen said no black players or no leagues. The Rams caved. They signed Kenny, who at 27 had bad knees, but still rushed for 859 yards. But what about George? He held out 16 more years until Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy said integrate or lose the DC Stadium, which was federal land. So George drafted Ernie Davis, the first black Heisman winner in 1962. But Ernie said, nah, not for no racism. He was traded to Cleveland, where he signed the most lucrative deal for a rookie at that time. Star player Bobby Mitchell replaced him. George died in 69, his team having only 3 winning seasons in 23 years. Racism isn't just evil, it's expensive. And when you exclude black excellence to protect your ego, everybody loses. Here are our NFL trailblazers in real life. Follow me for more Black History Month stories like these, and follow School at Night to master AI.
Shout out to this content creator. I want to get her name right. But it's on Mama Nation on IG. You can check it out there. That's MOMMINATION. But yeah, the way she broke it down is kind of what it was. So, as in 2029, players were all removed just because. And then in 1993, they had the gentleman's agreement. So, like for a while, like this is more before 1993, for like almost 20 years, black people just weren't allowed in the NFL randomly. NFL owners met in 1933 and instituted an informal but deliberate ban on black players, not a written rule, not a public policy, an agreement made in a room by men who controlled the league. So this document is informal, but it was a deliberate agreement amongst owners. Every black player being gone isn't evidence enough. The ban held for 13 years. And essentially, that kicked Pollard off the team. So that ruined his career and what he could have built at the time. So what did he do? He built his own foundation. He founded the Harlem Brown Bombers and his own team, an all-black Barnstorm team in 1935. He started his own newspaper. It was a shout out to him. He lobbied publicly for 13 years to get black players back in the NFL. So this matters because if you want to talk about black excellence, it seems that at every turn we get denied when we are proven that we are equal or superior. And he fought for 13 years for his people, even though he was getting older and he couldn't play anymore or coach because they didn't want black people getting money for some reason. he's a testament to what black excellence looks like. When you get hit with a wall, a barricade, you find a way around it. You fight for your rights, and even though that he didn't get to see the fruits of his fight for 13 years, so many others have come behind him to live out their dream till today. So shout out to Fritz Pollard, because without him, who knows where we would be.
And to be quite honest, I know again Jackie Robinson. He has his own movie 42. We talk about him all the time. We celebrate him all the time.
Yeah,
Again, as NFL becomes this big, grandiose league, let's give a shout out to Kenny Washington and Woody Strode. Strode,
Kenny Washington, Woody
Strode.
Strode. Yeah,
Woody Strode. They broke the ban in 1946 when they were signed to the Los Angeles Rams in 1946, a year before Jackie Robinson. Is that a year before or year after? Was Jackie Robinson 1945 or 1947? Was Jackie Robinson integrated 1947?
1947.
It was 1947?
Mhm.
Okay. That's what I thought. Okay, yeah, a year before. So, and with that being said, with that sequence, NFL reintegrating first, that's not widely known, right? Again, we're bringing information that isn't, big, prevalent. There were in 1959, there were black players were 12% of the roster, 12%. So again, there was a in 1920 we got Fritz Pollard.
Mhm.
They kick him out in 1926. They have a handshake agreement in 1933. Just follow the timeline with us, please, fellow people. And then my man Pollard creates his own, lobbies for 13 years, and again, with some help of some politicians who said, "Hey man, this ain't really a good look." They boycotting, they hurting other people money, not
Yeah.
just your money. They hurting other people money. You know what I'm saying? So
See how a
with that
boycott
being,
can work, Jay-Z? I'm looking at you.
not a boycott of the NFL. Memphis Bleak, you see Memphis Bleak not wearing the. Everybody used to have the Plains hat. Everybody used to have the Rockefeller. Everybody used to wear. I'm seeing this nigga Memphis Bleak wearing an all black NFL hat. I'm like, oh, these niggas really own that.
Yeah, really on it, man.
They really own that, bro. Like you know what I'm saying? Without you sharing this history.
Yeah,
I will be okay if y'all gonna get involved with the NFL and then share this history.
yeah.
If Rock Nation does a documentary on this. You know what I'm saying? Like
Uh-huh.
y'all got a documentary on a nigga getting his hair cut. Y'all got a documentary. Sean's hair was Jay's hair was so proud. He grew his hair to show blue. You can do it. Well, why don't you show these motherfuckers that people in the NFL always never approved of black people in there? How we always had to fight. How we always had to
Exactly.
scrap. How we always had to look up and ask, damn, really y'all not damn, really? We can't run the ball on the field with y'all niggas?
Yeah. They removed every black player from the league randomly. Randomly. I never knew this. I'm learning this as we're talking about it. I did not know that happened. But yeah, it's like as more things change, the more things don't change because, as of today, they're trying to put barriers for, black people just getting jobs, period, in America, much less a job in the NFL. But yeah,
Wow.
there were zero hirings and 10 openings in the head coaching cycle this year. So from 2026, to 1926, it seems like, time is a flat circle in a sense, So they'll let you play the game, let you coach the game, they'll let you be in every way that doesn't involve owning it. The question is whether people building a product are ever going to allow the people building it to collect a check or the big check that is owed to them, or the people that look like them who have been the foundation of the league for years will be able to do that. We'll see. So yeah, let's Let's go into the current numbers and demographics
Well,
of
I think well, I'm sorry, but as we do that, I just want people to kind of as we do that to springboard into this. I just want to let people know this take real quick. As we give these numbers, I want you to really understand how the manipulation of progress can be utilized, right? Because they integrated very quickly,
yeah.
relatively quickly, as far as after that ban was broken. We literally have just talked about it. They were at 12% by 1959 after they said we don't want nobody in here. So again, 1933 was the handshake deal. By 1959, going into the new decade of the 1960s, 12% of NFL rosters were black players. We gave the number earlier at the beginning of the monologue. Now it's up to 54%. Okay, dude, it took 68 years to get another black head
Yes.
coach.
Yes.
My nigga.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that.
It took
68
68
years.
years to get another black head coach. And this is not no these are not us doing something to be hyperbolic. Legitimately, Fitz Pollard, who we just introduced to a lot of people, who became a coach in 1923 of the Akron Heroes, I believe. Let me get the fucking name, freaking name right. I'm sorry, Auntie. As he's the first coach at that time, and then we go 68 years before we get another coach in Art Shells. That is ridiculous. Chidi, you got something for us? Go ahead, take it away.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
I'm just piggybacking on what you're saying. You got it, bro. Modern NFL didn't have a black head coach until 1989, guys. After that, here's the story.
I was born in 1989, bro. That's 37 years. So think
That's
about
not that
I'm
long
born in
ago.
1980.
I mean, if you really think,
37 years.
yeah, but it was 60. How many years of growth?
It was 68. It was a 68-year gap.
68. But here's
It
the
was a
thing:
68
68-year gap. But think about this: it's a 68-year of growth of the sport of football. That's contracts going up. That's teams, expansion teams, and teams, winning Super Bowls and all types of things. Jerseys being sold and people getting becoming whether it's a hometown celebrity or whether it's now a state celebrity. Growing, growing, growing. All right, let's let the black players back in. Let's use them to make our sport, better. But we will never let a black man coach a team again. When back in 1920, 26, was it? He had a black man playing and coaching at the same time. So it's not that you guys were like thinking that the black man can't do it. You just didn't want a black man doing it for 68 years. Yo, there was we've had more NFL time, like you said, without black coaches than we had with. So there's no surprise we're here in 2026 and there's 10 openings and we still can't get one black or minority coach hired in a cycle. Let's give a little bit of praise to Art Shell. By the time Art Shell became the first black head coach in the modern NFL history, even though he's the second one, there were already been 18 black head coaches in the NBA and 4 black black baseball managers. So NFL was late to the party, even comparing it to other leagues in America. In 1989, 2 months after his induction to the Pro Football Hall of Fame as a player, Shell took over the head coaching job of the Los Angeles Raiders. He was the NFL's first black head coach since the league's
That's
early
why I'm
days.
wearing my Raiders jersey right now. I got my Bo Jackson on, baby.
Yeah,
I got a show on Oak tonight, baby.
boys on a yacht going crazy. All right, listen. He was NFL's first black head coach since the league's early days in 1920s, when Fritz Pollard was a player coach for the Hammond Pros, as we mentioned earlier. When Shell was first when Shell was fired 6 years later in 1995, there were two black head coaches remaining in the NFL, double the number of today. Now, this was 4 years ago. They wrote this, so this is 2022. Last month, back then, 2022, the number shrank from 3 to 1 after two coaches were fired, including Brian Flores of the Miami Dolphins, who filed a class action lawsuit against the NFL
Yep.
and its
Yep.
teams, claiming discrimination when it comes to hiring and retention of black coaches. The NFL.
Yep.
Oh, hold up one second. Can you see this? Can you read it?
Yeah, I can read it. You need me to take over?
Yeah, please do.
All right. So last month, like they said in 2022, at that time, Brian Flores was fired by the Miami Dolphins, and then he filed an explosive class action lawsuit, which again, it's still held against them to this day. Well, no, I can't say that. That is an opinion. I'm sorry. Let me bring the facts back to this. Brian Flores has been hired back into the NFL under Coaching Trees. He is a defensive coordinator currently right now. As a head coach, it seems that he may not be able to get a head job, but that is again speculation. He is not blackballed.
Give me
out the
1 minute. I'll
NFL.
be right back. Just sorry.
Go ahead, brother. So he is absolutely still in the NFL. So with that class action lawsuit, which was against the NFL and its teams, claiming discrimination when it comes to hiring and retention of black coaches, the NFL and the teams named in the suit have denied the allegations. Again, why? My thing is with the history of the NFL. If you know your history, it's a quick Google right now. Like we're live researching this right now, bro. Like what would be the point of them denying the case of we have an issue retaining black head coaches? Let me also give you this little nugget for you guys before I continue reading this article. Right. There has only been 28 black head coaches in the 106-year history of the NFL. Okay, let me say that one more time. There has only been 28 black head coaches as of today, right now, in the history of the 106-year history of the NFL. That is 26.42%, meaning the team averaged roughly one new head coach every 4 years.
And I'm not going to
That's
listen.
what that number is.
I'm not gonna play these games, guys. That's not enough. I'm just gonna be real with y'all. And I think anybody being rational, anybody who sees the amount of people that are in the league that are black, that were making the money, that are, you got your favorite players, for there to be only 28 and that be one every 4 years is abysmal. So when we talk about, oh, there's no such thing as racism, getting it off of merit, oh, we should, get rid of the Rooney Rule. Listen, these are the reasons why these DEI practices were in place or should be in place. Guys, there's an inherent bias against black people in America, period. You can sit here, you can act like that there isn't, but every single step on proving if there is or not leans against black people. Let me just throw a couple stats on you just as black people, period, in this world. And just so you can understand how deep this goes. Because it's not just in the NFL. This is just in America, period. So, let me hold on a second. So, as for the NFL, though, the NFL has required teams to interview black candidates for head coaching jobs for 23 years, and 5 of those years, not a single black coach was hired, despite every team completing the required interviews. 5 of the years, not one black coach was hired, meaning the process was followed perfectly and produced nothing. In 2016, now moving outside the NFL, 2016, Harvard study. These people have done studies on this. Sent identical resumes to employers with stereotypical black names and stereotypical white names. What do you think happened? They found out that white named applicants received 50% more callbacks, meaning the discrimination happened before a single human being was ever seen. This is not okay.
That is true. NFL will read that study and be like, we hired Raheem Morris 3 times.
So, but in between hiring them 3 times, they're hiring a bunch of white guys. You know, it's not. You know, so
absolutely.
you know, so
That's but only reason why I brought that name was because you said names like inherently, like
Yeah.
Raheem's a black name.
Yeah,
For Raheem
for
to
sure.
walk in the room
But-
and my nigga get hired 3 times, salute to Raheem. He know how to do it. And he coached the Caprice too. Man, I don't know how he did that. I don't know how he pulled that off.
Now, I want to say something that's close to my heart. My dad was a doctor. If y'all don't know, but black doctors are paid 35% less than white doctors with identical credentials, identical specialities, identical years of experience, meaning the gap exists inside profession that requires standardized licensing and certifications to enter. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter if you meet all the 8 years of medical school plus doctorate. It doesn't matter if you get all the licenses and certifications necessary. There's still going to be a pay gap. So when we act like there's no racism, there's no biases, there's no discrimination, guys, it's right in front of our face. There have been research. We've researched this. As Americans, we can stop acting like it doesn't exist. We can stop acting like DEI is based on just giving black people jobs that don't deserve it. There's black people who have earned their job 2 times over the white candidate that got it, and still won't get picked over the white candidate. It's just the realities of it. Median white family, we talked about this in the past. Median white families in America have 8 times the wealth of a median black family, a gap that has not meaningfully closed since the Civil Rights Act was signed in 1964, despite 60 years of the same legal protections applying to everyone. Black defendants receive sentences that are on average 19.1 longer than white defendants, convicted for the same crime with the same criminal history. That finding was from the United States Sentencing Commission, which is a federal government-owned, which is the federal government's data. So you guys can look this up. This is not me just pulling stats out of thin air. This is real. And then we all should know about redlining, which was made legal in 1968, which is pretty much they're doing today still. But a 2018 investigative report by the National Committee of Reinvestment Coalition found that neighborhoods that were redlined in the 1930s are still the lowest income and racially segregated neighborhoods in the same cities today. Meaning the policy ended, but the outcome of that never changed. So the ramifications from these racist policies and racist, structures and institutions have now created a society where there is a system that operates that benefits racists and bias, period. And that goes back to the NFL conversation. When you exclude black people for 68 years and then say, all right, we'll let you in. All right, fine, we'll let you in as a player. We're just gonna use you guys to make some money. Then finally, 68 years later, fine, we'll give you a job as a head coach, and it took one of the greatest players of all time to do that and make that change. That 68 years of building up equity and making the NFL a big household name off of black players, and then eventually you bring them in, and by the time you bring in the head coaching and everything like that, there's people have made millions, billions probably off of black people who weren't able to participate. And this is the same cycle that black people are going through in every industry, whether it was the medical marijuana industry, as we discussed, or whether it's, the black hair care industry. We make something hot. We make it known that there's money to be involved here, that people can buy and sell and make it. We create an economy, and we don't get to participate in the fruits of the labor being done to create the economy and blow it up. on the bigger scales. Maybe you can be a worker, but we can't. But being an owner is the key in this country, and you really don't have much power to say if you don't have equity in this country. Therefore, black people get treated like shit and don't have the abilities to create their own ecosystems. Are you muted?
My bad. My bad. I want to say, just to bring it back to the NFL, as we were saying, as you were here, I want to let people understand they didn't willingly break this ban, right? The NFL at the time was generally okay with what they had going on. And I want to let everybody know that at that time, we did not just take this shit lying down, to be quite honest, right? We spoke about Fritz Parler starting the all-black barnstorming teams. Well, the Brown Bombers. We have the Black Yankees. There were also minor and regional leagues that popped off at that time: Pacific Coast Professional Football League, American Association, and then there was also the All-American Football Conference. That was a rival to the NFL, and that was where the Cleveland Browns played at that time. And the Cleveland Browns, they signed Black Stars, Marion Motley, and Bill Willis at that time. And I want everybody to understand too, at that during that period when black players, because I asked, what did black players do during that time where they were banned and they couldn't play? And then I wanted to ask, what brought the black players back?
Okay.
Because at that time, we pivoted to baseball and played in the Negro League. The athletes did, right? Or we went to Canada and played in the Canadian football. Shout out to our brothers. Shout out to Toronto. Shout out to Drake and them boys.
No, fuck Drake, yo. It's not about Drake. Shout out to Canada.
I know.
Shout out to Canada for actually not.
I mean, them white people let us in up there.
Yeah,
Shout
for not being
complete
assholes. For real.
That's how the hockey team of Nova Scotia. That's how, rest in peace, John Saunders, the great ESPN analyst and reporter that used to work there. He was one of the first black hockey players up there in Canada. He had to go up there to play in their Canadian league. So again, shout out to Canada.
Yeah.
And so at that time, and then, the contracts, like we think about it today, right? They weren't really making no money to play sports. It was a luxury at that time to play sports. So people pivoted to other jobs. They became teachers, coaches, laborers of that sort. But the big thing that I wanted to talk about, what I asked is, what brought them back? And to your point about the natural inherited racism that was in the NFL that still shows its way through the NFL. They were forced to take players back because legal pressure over public funding. We see that right now, right? How how some NFL teams use the leverage of public funding if somebody needs help getting a stadium or something like that, or we're going to leave or whatever it can be. That's what happened back in the day, where cities leverage public fund. Hey, we're not going to help support you because they were rivals.
Yeah.
There were other entities and other things that was forcing the hand of business. Again, we talk about the Los Angeles Rams in the video that you played, and the two players that got signed to break the ban at that point in time. They were only brought back to the Los Angeles Rams because the Rams wanted to use the Coliseum. The Coliseum said, you can't do it without a Negro, period. And that's what forced the hand. That's what broke the ban.
That's telling, because it's like, when it comes to equity and black equity, it's like we're going to have to force their hand by something they want.
Yep.
Something, and we're not going to be given that stake, because it always comes with the potential of harming their pockets. It's the only way people freaking listen, bro. Is that it has to be affecting their pockets. It's not about being a good human being and saying, "Hey, man, we should discriminate on people's color." Right?
It was not about moral awakening. It was not. It was inhibitedly not about being a good person.
Yeah.
So, again, back to, now tempering this conversation again in real time, is tempering the excitement of the NFL. It's bringing back, oh, y'all back talking about Kaepernick again? Yes.
Yes.
Kind of, sort of. Now, you fucked around and brought it back. Yes. And to be quite honest, I know you said that we could have held on to this for another week or so, but it's coinciding to what it is we've been talking about. Since Jay-Z's been in the zeitgeist of the Roots concert, and since he broke the target, and since Memphis Bleak is on the podcast tour, and then he raps about it again, and then he's like, "Oh, y'all bring about Kaepernick again," and now Nessa's back up, and she's like, "Yeah," like things are now like, okay, so let's go back and dig into the NFL's
history. Let's be real about it. Let's not sit here and just use talking points to just say people are chicken and choosing and to just ignore why Black Americans have a love-hate relationship with the NFL. Let's not ignore that. Let's not ignore the intentional exclusion being done on every level for years in the NFL. Let's not ignore the disparity between the actual talent of people on the field and the people in the head office, including in the seat of head coach. We know now that there's nothing wrong with Black coaches coaching. Like, we've known forever. Let's be real. It's stupid. It's stupid as a premise to even think that a Black person has less ability than a white guy. It's just a preference. They just rather win with the white guy. They'd rather give a job to a white dude. That's just it. I'm walking my Jets jersey, my Jets shirt. I don't even got a jersey, but I'm not the biggest fan of Woody Johnson. But at least I can say, listen, in my fandom, I've seen at least 4 Black coaches. Black coaches.
Nigga, bro, and think about the number that we're talking about. Woody Johnson is responsible for hiring goddamn a quarter or
3.
a fifth.
Is it 3?
No, hold on. It's Todd Bowles, Aaron Glenn, hold on.
Yes, and the light skinned dude who said we play to win the game.
Herm Edwards.
Yeah, and then Robert Saleh is not Black, but he's a minority as well.
Three. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Todd Bowles, Aaron Glenn, Herman Edwards. Yep.
Mm-hmm. But as of we stand here today, I mean not today, but as of February 2026, Black or African players make up approximately 53.4% of the active 53-man rosters. So the active 53-man rosters as of February, it was 53.4. That's not including practice squad, because if you add in all the practice squad shit, it's about 70% of the league is just Black people working. When including practice squad members, where representation is higher at 52.2, the total percent. Okay, no, it's all right. My bad. It's 55.1%. When you include practice squad, so it's not as bad as I thought. All right, so
shout out to our Polynesian and white brothers getting them jobs too.
For sure. You know, shout out to the Ooses. So,
but again, to your. Oh, go ahead. You got it. Go ahead.
No. You got something to say? Go before I move to
I was just gonna say. I was just gonna say was, the number of Black head coaches in representation is 9.9%. We talking about 3 out of 32.
Yes, I was about to say that. It's so we got Todd Bowles, D'Amico Ryans, Aaron Glenn. That's it.
And shout out to D'Amico, man. And I ain't gonna hold you. At a certain time we was talking about Black quarterbacks. That's not an issue no more. So CJ Stroud, we'll get a white boy out there in Houston just so D'Amico can keep his job. He is a good Black head coach. And we are not going to sacrifice a good Black head coach because your ass want to fuck Amber Rose. Okay? Get your ass out of here.
Who?
CJ Stroud, nigga.
Oh,
CJ Stroud CJ Stroud might fuck it up with DeMeco. Shit in the bed, nigga. You know what I'm saying? They'll fire a coach before they fire a franchise quarterback. But again, CJ Stroud is not a franchise quarterback. That's why I say get your shit together or you out of here, because DeMeco is a good black head coach that can have that job for as long as he wants it. Again, so that's why I said we'll get somebody in there, CJ. It ain't gotta be you. We'll get somebody in there because DeMeco deserves that job. DeMeco Ryans deserves to be that head coach. And I do want to talk about I know you might be going, I might be going too fast, but there has been outside of the black head coaches, right, and no black ownership, right. There's only 50 black NFL broadcasters out of 260, right? 15% of people of color are represented as league office executive roles. We have 2 black team presidents. We have 6 black GMs.
and we just we were talking about Ryan Clark this week, and him getting fired, and but they love them some Pat McAfee and Peter Schrager, like guys who, I mean, granted, Pat McAfee, I actually like what he's done with his platform. He's self-made. I can't knock him on that. But Peter Schrager, bruh, he kept his job. I'm sorry. Listen. I think there's a favoritism thing going on here.
You know what's crazy now? Looking at Pat McAfee, I know he's self-made, but again, and you know what? He's self-made.
Yeah,
he's self-made. I know. Now he's placed in the positions because of where he's at now, but previously he was the punter interviewing Mike Leach, I think, at West Virginia. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was him, Pat White, Steve Slate, like them like he had a Squiddy out there in West Virginia.
That's why as much as I don't watch his show as much as I used to, and I still am kind of like wary because the Trump regime now has me looking at everybody sideways. Whether you're Caitlin Clark or Sophie Cunningham or Pat McAfee, I'm gotta be like, are you really down with us? Because it's either you're with us or you're against us in my mind, or low key. But I can't knock a person who has put in hard work. But you're right. When it comes to black people, there's just a huge bias when it comes to all jobs, and I think when we see the NFL, it's in our face because we get to see how many jobs that this entity employs, and whether it be through the NFL itself as an entity or how the ancillary businesses also are employing people for, like you said, the broadcast jobs and all that stuff. It's really telling when you see that, wow, we're watching a majority black business. Let's be real. NFL's a majority black business, not in the head office, but when you have majority of the people working that are black people, it's a majority black business, but the people in positions to make decisions and make the most money are not in that position. There is a problem here. There's a fundamental problem there, and I think that if it comes to a point where we're like, listen, you're exploiting people, and then on top of that, putting them into positions where they have to be 2 or 3 times as good to even get a decent opportunity. Like, I'm looking at these stats and I'm like, bro, let's keep on going with the conversation around these coaches. Like, in today's NFL, the path to head coach runs almost exclusively through offensive coordinator. From 1999 to 2021, white coaches held 86% of offensive coordinator positions. So let's start there. They have 86. So that even getting an OC job to even then get opportunity for a head coach, it's an uphill climb. Now, of the first 11 offensive coordinators hired in 2026 cycle, 1 was a person of color. The Rooney Rule requires him to interview minority candidates for head coaching positions. It does not reach the level below. So already there's a problem with the Rooney Rule right there. If you are not hiring people for, or trying to, not even hire, interview minority, mandate to interview people that are not white men for positions that are like offensive coordinator, DC, then there's no incentive to put people in position to then one day be a head coach. And this is all going to come full circle with the ownership conversation. So, because we're getting to that too. But this is all a systematic issue with the NFL. So it does at least a level lower the pipeline is. So you can't fix the top of the funnel by mandating interviews if the bottom of the funnel is 86% in white male favor. Now, there's also a problem with it called when it comes to firing coaches. There is a firing problem when it comes to black coaches. Black coaches are twice as likely to be fired after winning seasons. They get fired after fewer than 20 games at double the rate of white coaches. That's why I'm praying Aaron Glenn does well this year, because we all know he's on the chopping block, even though he's only had 1 year of a really bad team. He's already on the chopping block. I think partially it's because he's a black coach and they don't get along. They don't get a long leash to mess up. So they get fired after 20 games at double the rate of white coaches. At double the rate of white coaches. So black coaches have spent 9 years longer in mid-level assistant roles before reaching coordinator positions than their white counterparts since 2010. So black coaches spend 9 years longer in assistant positions than a white person who might have had they're getting lapped. So a white boy comes behind them at another team, gets an assistant position. Next thing you know, he's going to OC. Next thing you know, he's head coach. Meanwhile, they're still a wide receivers coach or a defensive assistant or a positions coach. They're getting lapped. So even giving them the opportunity to get a head coaching job is an issue once again. So there's higher standards for black people to get in, and there's a faster exit when they do. This is not a coincidence. This is a documented pattern that we're seeing with the NFL. Let me look into the Anscape quote on the NFL coaches. It says, in a league with a player population that is roughly 70% players of color, having 30% GMs of color should not be a big deal. 30%, not 50, just 30% of people of color should not be a big deal. But such diversity is unprecedented in any off-field positions of power in the NFL. There have never been 10 head coaches of color. There's never been 10 head coaches of color. There have never been 10 presidents of color. In fact, there have never been 10 offensive coordinators of color. It just doesn't happen. There's always going to be a young white kid who's going to be able to usurp and jump you to get an opportunity above you, it seems like, in the NFL. So, going back to the ownership conversation. Before I move on, do you have any comments?
Yeah, what I was I had sent some things in the Discord while you were speaking.
Okay.
I actually have the I think I sent the actual Rooney Rule.
Oh yeah. We're gonna get to that right next. But
and then I
I'll
sent
bring it
you I sent you a report of. See, we talk about journalistic integrity yesterday of Kyle Shanahan getting into an accident, and how ESPN is bought by the NFL. The NFL has a 10% stake in ESPN, which is a media arm. It's not a journalistic arm, but it's a media arm. And that the reason why I'm bringing that up is because there was there's a journalist that pretty much stated that there isn't Steve Weish I believe is what his name is. He said there's no NFL pipeline problem, right? There's no hiring problem, right? He literally just said that recently of this 2026, right? And that's where I pulled this from, right? And pretty much, asking is the Rooney Rule a sham and all of that. But there seems
is he a white man?
Steve, yes, I believe so.
I don't want to hear shit from him. Unfortunately, he doesn't seem like he gets it. I think the numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. They don't. I mean, we're not even saying that there should be half the coaches should be black. Can we get 10? Can we get OC? Can we get 10 offensive coordinators that are black? Can that ever happen? You know.
Mm.
But yeah,
I,
you wanted me to share this
I
article
don't
from
know.
Britannica, the Rooney Rule. Let's go. Let's read it.
Yeah, yeah, yes, sir.
All right. So Rooney Rule is a requirement, as we mentioned. Let me zoom in a little bit so y'all can see it better. Listen, I'm respectful to anybody's opinion, but I'm sorry, I don't want to sit here and read the numbers out loud to y'all and then have guys like this who are not willing to do the deep dives and then say that they're and just say like, oh, there's no problem with it. And I'm not saying that it's like an inherent racist, intentional racist issue. There is biases, clearly. Listen, if I had $1 billion and I'm have a company and I just happen to keep hiring like 90% black people, and I said, hey, there's no hiring process, like there's no problem. You see that guy over there? He's white. The guy working, like on aisle 6. Like, yeah, we got one of them over there. That doesn't mean there's no problem. Sorry, there's a lot more people that deserve an opportunity. So let's continue to read this Britannica article. Check it out. Britannica.com. It's on the Rooney Rule. This is an article that came out as of July 27, 2026. It says the Rooney Rule is a requirement implemented by the National Football League in 2003. That team must interview at least one diverse candidate. Just interview one diverse candidate for every host coaching job. Named for Pittsburgh Steelers owner and head of group that recommended the policy, the late Dan Rooney. The Rooney Rule has been expanded by NFL to cover other positions. Versions of the Rooney Rule have also been adopted broadly by corporate America to diversity leadership. Origin and the expansion of the rule. Fritz Pollard was an NFL's first black head coach when he was hired by the Akron Pros in 1921. We talked about this. It will be 68 years before another black man would enter the NFL. Art Shell was named. Well, he was named the Las Vegas Raiders head coach in 1989. Even as the percentage of black NFL players grew, the number of black people in leadership positions did not. It was against that backdrop that the NFL's diversity committee, led by the Rooney Rule, put in place the requirement that at least one, not like two, not three, not four, just one diversity candidate be interviewed for a head coaching position. As far back as the 1960s, the Rooney Rule had worked to increase the number of black players in the NFL by recruiting from historically black colleges and universities. Over the years, the NFL has expanded the policy. As of 2025, the Rooney Rule requirements are that each NFL team must interview at least two diverse candidates for every head coach. Okay, two diverse candidates for every head coach job, general manager, and coordinator position. Interview at least one diverse candidate for every quarterback coaching position. Consider women as diverse candidates for purposes of interviewing for these roles. Those are the three roles right here. Results of the Rooney Rule have been mixed. In 2024, there were 9 diverse head coaches among the 32 teams in the NFL. 6 of them were black. There have never been more than 10 black head coaches in a single season. In 2023, about 54% of the NFL players identified as black. The league has also faced allegations that some of the teams follow the letter but not the spirit of the rule, doing a bare minimum to comply without really intending to hire a diverse team leader. In 2022, former Miami Dolphins head coach Brian Flores sued the NFL, accusing the league and several teams of racist hiring practices. Rooney, who died in 2017, remained a stalwart advocate of the policy that bore his name. He said he understood that the rule could not guarantee specific outcomes, but its existence would matter over time. The Rooney Rule in corporate America. Since Rooney's implementation, companies across the United States, including many Fortune 500, have adopted versions of it, with some going even further than the NFL. often referred to as diverse candidate slates in the private sector. Policies can require that at least one person of color and one woman be considered for all open positions. In the wake of 2020 murder of George Floyd by a white police officer in Minneapolis, Minnesota, many companies enhanced their diversity policies, including adopting versions of the Rooney Rule. I'm not going to read the rest of it because we're almost done. Sorry. Let me read the rest of it. By and large, courts have held that mandating diversity in hiring pool is not discriminatory or illegal hiring practice. However, even before 2024 re-election of President Donald Trump and his executive orders dismantling diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in the federal government, the Rooney Rule and its corporate progeny were facing increasing legal challenges. In 2024, America First Legal, a nonprofit group founded by Trump advisor Stephen Miller, who's a Nazi, filed a complaint against the NFL and pharmaceutical company Sanofi over their policies to ensure diversity in the job hiring process. So, while some companies have cut back on diversity programs, the NFL seems ready to stand behind its now decade-long practice, according to the NFL spokesperson, responding to a complaint. We are proud of the work that we have done to promote equal employment opportunities for women and people of color and the resulting growth in diversity through the NFL. Diversity makes us better. So that's their stance as of right now. I just want to ask you, what's your stance on the Rooney Rule? I know we got into it early in the pod days, a couple months ago, on the Rooney Rule. I think that first of all, I want to give a shout out to Dan Rooney, because the fact that what's something that you put in place in the NFL could expand to give people more opportunity in corporate America is a huge benefit to your people at large. But as of where we stand now, are you more concerned with the results of it or the fact that it exists? Are you muted?
Having
Okay, no.
I'm prefacing my statement because my stance hasn't necessarily changed by the new information that I've received, knowing that despite it being a rule, all it is again, I have to interview. And the dog and pony show of embarrassing someone or bringing somebody out, or the performative nature of putting on your best suit, bringing your best pitch, only to know that they're going to hire Frank Wright. You know what I'm saying? As even as offensive coordinator, right? Brian Leftwich is a Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator. Brian Leftwich is also, I believe, a Pro Bowl quarterback in this league, right? Brian Leftwich he's coached Tom Brady. Josh McDaniels gets the whiff of that perfume 15 years after the fact. Josh McDaniels, Charlie Weiss, the special teams coach that ended up being a coach for the Giants. Like, everybody. Like, Brian Leftwich, what I'm saying, the special team, what I'm saying is Brian Leftwich isn't a head coach. Brian Leftwich, as an offensive coordinator, can't get into the pipeline of it. So, me talking about the Rooney Rule, where they don't even interview Brian Leftwich,
if they interview him, they're not giving him a job, though.
Exactly, interview and not giving him a job, and and knowing that the history of the we got to talk about too, like not a lot of teams have inherited their, have kept the lineage of the original team. So except the Giants and the Bears, I believe are family ran teams. So I can't say that everybody has kept the same philosophies of the men before them, but everybody has kept the same philosophies as the men before them. It has been inherently passed down that we don't give off this equity to people that are not like us. And by not like us is white. Because even the women that got into it were, again, it fell into their lap because the father passed. But blacks and women, like, no, ill, get out of here. That's how they treated it.
Yeah.
Now we got some minority owners. Shout out to Magic, Serena, Lewis Hamilton. People that are able to throw in their couple bitty, pennies on the back end of an equity group. But again, we only have 13 of them people. We only have 13 black minority owners at that point, right? So there seems to be when you ask that question, it being in place kind of then incentivizes
Okay, my
them
bad. I'm sorry.
to go against the grain. Go ahead. What'd you say?
I was a little emotional when I told Steve Weiss to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
black. I looked him up too, and I read and. Yeah, I looked him up. He black, and I read the quote that was wrong.
I didn't know he was black. I didn't even look him up.
Yeah,
The quote was wrong, and I'm looking at it.
The quote was wrong.
Yeah, so I'm like,
was
I don't
wrong.
want to hear nothing. Sorry, Steve. Listen, I hear you. You said there's no pipeline problem. There's a hiring problem. Period. And you're right. There's a hiring problem. That's what
There's a
the full
hiring
quote
problem.
was.
Yep.
There's a hiring problem.
Yep.
So yeah, respect to Steve Weiss. But you're right. I think Byron Leftwich should get a chance. I think he will get a chance again. I think he will be in the, say, hey, if the Jets lose a coach, I think he should get an interview with us for sure, along with Tomlin. But yeah, those are my. I think that it just takes a while for us to get over the hump, and it's like we go through cycle. I hear what you're saying, where he's like the dog and pony show, and you're right. Come on, last year we had 9 minorities, 6 of them were black head coaches, and it seemed like progress. But this year, boom, 3 of them black people get fired, boom, right off the bat, and then we have 10 vacancies. Every team was the Rooney Rule compliant, 0 black hires. Now we have to sit here and document that several teams are just having people come over there, do interviews for nothing, right? For sham interviews to just check a box. Essentially.
Bro, and these are the people that were hired too. These are the people that were hired.
Yeah. Let me pull that up first. I got it here.
Oh, you got. Yeah,
I know you shared it with me. Give me 1 second. I got you, bro.
There were 10 hires. There was 1 minority candidate that was hired, and he's from Lebanese descent. Shout out to Robert Saleh. He is from Lebanese descent. I believe he's a. I don't want to say it talk out of turn for your religion, but you are not white or black, right?
Yeah.
So he's a minority. But other than that, look at the retreads. Look at the retreads. I can see 3 off the top.
Harbaugh, Mike McCarthy, Michael LaFleur. Mike LaFleur is the first time. Kevin Stefanski is crazy.
Kevin Stefanski as a first-time coach. Now, this is my thing. Arthur Blank, he done did it. He hired Raheem. You know what I'm saying? He hired Raheem. They got Michael Penix Jr. The nigga always wear a do-rag. Arthur Blank's like, hey, now, let's.
It's Atlanta, though. Come on.
Let's stable this motherfucker out a little bit. Exactly. I live in Atlanta. I gotta have somebody steer the ship. Nigga, it's Atlanta, Michael Penix wear a do-rag to every press conference.
And Raheem.
And my head coach is Raheem. Let me reel this shit the fuck back in. They looking at me crazy at these owner meetings.
But man, why is that an issue though? Like, let Atlanta be black, hella black. That is really,
I mean, let it be hella black in Atlanta. Like, that's the only place it can be black, my nigga.
for real.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the only place it literally can be black,
So yeah, we got Arizona hired Michael Floor, white, not a minority. Atlanta Falcons Ken Stefanski, not a minority. Baltimore Ravens hired Jesse Minter, not a minority. Buffalo Bills
Nope.
hired Joe Brady, not a minority. He got promoted essentially. Todd Monken, not a minority, going to Cleveland
Nope.
Browns. Old man. Las Vegas Raiders Clint Kubiak, not a minority.
Went out of minority.
Miami Dolphins Jeff Havley, not a minority.
Jeff Hafley, who the fuck is that?
New York Giants John Harbaugh, another old man, but he has Super Bowl. Can't knock him. Not a minority. Pittsburgh Steelers Mike McCarthy, not a minority. And then we got Robert Sala, like you said, Lebanese descent, minority, going to Tennessee Titans. The good old boy. It's a good old boy club, guys. It's a good old boy club, and we're just pointing out the facts because it's a problem. It's a problem, man. Listen, on my team, black head coach, man. I'm proud to say that. We got the Air Jets, Texans, DeMeco Ryans, and we got Tampa Bay. Tom Bowles still rocking it out there as head coach, who also was a former Jet head coach. So I hope that things change in the future, man. I don't know what will spur along this, but it's not going to be a requirement to interview that will change things, though. It won't be that. I do think we should keep the running rule. Like, as they pull back diversity, equity, inclusion, I don't want a team to just I don't want teams to just not be incentivized to even interview people that are of a different minority. It just doesn't make much sense to me that you wouldn't have this rule, even if it's not working. Because at the very least, you get in front of some people, right? And maybe Byron Leftwich doesn't get the job this year, but maybe he gets a head coach job next year at a place that he met somebody and he wowed somebody, but they weren't the decision maker, maybe, and then they're now moving to another team and they're a head coach somewhere, or they have a decision in another team. We need the good old boy club has to see black people and sit down with them and have conversations for things so that eventually change, so them could be open to the conversation, and not just black people, minorities at large, but we're talking about black people today because majority of the league is black players, man. It's black players.
I think one of the biggest things now. I mean, now let's just move. My favorite part of the conversation.
Wait, real quick. Before you move on. Wait. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So since the Rooney Rule, there's 11 teams that have not ever employed a full-time black head coach. Give me. All right. And the list is Buffalo Bills. No, give me
Dallas Cowboys. Buffalo Bills ain't had a black head coach. I can't think of. They had a black GM. I don't think they had a black head coach. Wait, was Leslie Frazier a head coach?
Of Bills, was he?
I don't know. No, I think he was a DC.
All right, so we got Baltimore Ravens, never had a black head coach. Buffalo Bills, never had a black head coach. Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
Carolina Panthers, Dallas Cowboys, Jacksonville Jaguars, Los Angeles Rams, New Orleans Saints, New York Giants, Seattle Seahawks, Tennessee Titans, Washington Commanders. Now, when I look at this list, I see New York.
Read that list again. I can give you the owners. Read that list again from the top.
Okay, Baltimore Ravens.
Baltimore Ravens. Their owner is Steve Buscemi. He's a co-founder of staffing firm Allegiance Group. Now, I don't know why, but Steve Buscemi, I don't know if he's the one who's hired Ozzie Newsome and then now have hired their Ryan DeCosta, the back-to-back black GMs.
Yeah.
But they have not had a black head coach at the moment.
But they got a new GM in Baltimore?
Yeah, Ozzie Newsome's not there no more. I think he's like a senior advisor now. I think they hired a new GM.
Robert DeCosta?
His name is Ryan DeCosta.
Ryan DeCosta. He gotta be. He's not black, is he?
Hold on.
He might be Spanish.
Hold on. New Baltimore Ravens GM.
Eric DeCosta, excuse me.
Oh, Eric DeCosta. Yeah, no, you're right. He white as a motherfucker.
All right.
You're right, cuz you're right. My bad.
All
you're right.
I'm sure you know the Buffalo Bills owner, right?
Yeah, that's Terry Pagula.
Terry
But before
Pagula.
them, it was Mr. Levy.
Okay. Then we got Carolina Panthers.
That was that's David Tepper's right now. And before then, it was the racist guy that they had, the Jerry Richardson, I believe it was. So, so I don't think he was hiring a black person either.
Dallas Cowboys and boys.
Jerry, boy. Hell no. Nigga. Jerry said, I'll be damned if I have the white.
Jacksonville Jaguars.
That's Shah Khan, nigga. He trying to be white. He Candace Owens.
Los Angeles Rams.
You know what? Right now their owner is Steve Kroenke, Stan Kroenke, and Stan is very successful. I don't want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I don't believe he's had a black head coach for his NFL team or his NBA team or his NHL team or his soccer team, but he's won championships in the last 5 years with all of them. So he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna keep doing what I want over here.
Oh shit. New Orleans Saints.
That is Miss Benson. She got that from her late husband, Tom Benson. They were an auto and banking empire. I gotta look into them, but I'm reading off the people.
Is she the third woman?
Gail Benson. Yeah, she by proxy, yes.
Okay.
So there, Gail Benson from the New Orleans Saints. She is the majority owner of the team.
New York Giants.
That's Steve Mara, and that has been passed down from family to from generation to generation. So that's one of the teams that is a legacy team, and great granddaddy ain't fuck with them blacks either.
Seattle Seahawks.
They have new ownership, if I'm not mistaken, right now. Judy Allen. I got to see how long they owned the team.
Okay.
Paul Allen, which was the owner, he literally just passed away.
Okay.
He's the co-founder of Microsoft, so
Okay.
he has some chicken. You know what I'm saying? He has some serious.
Tennessee Titans?
Serious chicken. That's Bud Adams. Bud Adams is a good old white boy down there in Tennessee that fuck with that oil. That oil and gas, nigga.
Washington Commanders.
Before that, it was Daniel Snyder. Oh, they talked about it. The dude that owned it, he was the Boston Braves. That video they showed, the Boston Braves that ended up being the Washington Redskins. That's the lineage of not hiring nobody.
Yeah, he did not want.
Team,
he wasn't trying to hire even players. That were black.
Yeah,
so yeah.
But shout out to the Washington Redskins though. They won the Super Bowl with Doug Williams. Doug Williams was the first black Super Bowl quarterback champion
The
of
team
the
that did
modern
not
era.
want to hire black players is the team where the first black quarterback won a Super Bowl. Isn't that like just? It's funny how the universe works sometimes, right? But when I look at this
Yeah,
list, I think the only excuse I can give here is Seattle, maybe the Giants, and New Orleans, and then Baltimore, because those
why?
places had long-term coaches for a very long time that were successful, like for extended period of time. And Pete
I wouldn't
Carroll.
call Mike Holmgren. I wouldn't call Mike Holmgren in Seattle before Pete Carroll successful.
No, I'm talking
You
about
know
Pete
what I'm
Carroll,
saying? Oh, okay.
but maybe
But
not
before
before
Pete
him.
Carroll,
But like,
okay, I was talking about that.
here's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
thing: when there's a coach that's there for a long period of time, it's gonna eat into those years where there's not a lot of turnover. You know, Baltimore
You're right.
Ravens.
You're right.
That's
You're
what I
right. It's a
mean.
lot of stability.
Yeah.
Bill, who was their coach? Bill Belichick,
Who?
Brian Billick for Baltimore. That was the
Baltimore?
coach.
Brian Billick? Okay. I'm
Brian
talking about
Billick.
John
Yeah, Brian
Harbaugh.
Billick.
But before him was
Oh,
Brian Billick? Yeah.
yeah, before him. Yeah, so coach people like that like Tom Coughlin with the Giants for a
Hmm.
long time. You know
You
what I
hired a
mean?
white
Like,
dude, he was really good, and y'all kept him. I'm cool with
yeah.
that. Like I'm not knocking that. But these teams like Washington Commanders never having a black head coach is crazy to me. Tennessee Titans never having a black head coach. Y'all got some explaining to do. Carolina Panthers never having a black head coach. Y'all got some explaining to do. Y'all should be giving black dudes.
Well, hold on. They have Ron Rivera though, non-white man, not a black man,
You
minority,
know what? You're
and he
right.
had
And he has
successful with
success.
Cam Newton. You know what I'm
Shebang.
saying? He bought the. You know what I'm saying?
I
So
gotta give
shout out to Riverboat Ron out there
Riverboat
in
Ron,
Carolina.
yeah. So yeah. So maybe I'll give him a pass too because of, on a technicality.
On the technicality.
But Tennessee, y'all got no freaking excuse, yo.
Tennessee,
Washington,
bro.
no excuse.
They had success with Jeff
Jacksonville,
Fisher.
get the fuck out of here.
Jeff Fisher was 8-8 like a motherfucker his whole career there, nigga.
Hmm.
So yeah, you should have fired that nigga on.
Then they
I
got
should
then
have fired
they
him
had Matt
like
Patricia.
Matt Patricia.
Yeah, so
Then
yeah,
they
there's a lot
then they
of
found a little success with Mike Vrabel.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Dallas.
We had some legacy coaches though. I ain't gonna hold you. You know, I ain't gonna lie. We
If you
held on to
had
Jason
y'all should
Garrett
have
and Wade Phillips a
way
little
too
bit.
long,
I know,
way too long.
I know,
If y'all had Byron
but
Leftwich there, I think that instead of who they got right now, what our old
Brian
OC?
Schottenheimer, we got Brian Schottenheimer. We
How
got
y'all
Brian
like him?
Schottenheimer.
Okay. Okay.
I would say this. I would say this. I do believe that if Byron Leftwich was on the staff, he would have been hired. Because I think if you're
Okay.
not, I know a lot of people not really paying attention, but Jerry, ever since he's hired Bill Parcells outside, right? He's talking about Barry. He hired Barry Switzers outside. He hired Jimmy Johnson outside. He hired Bill Parcells. After that, he was like, I need niggas I can control. Wade Phillips come here. Then he hired Jason Garrett, who was offensive coordinator at that time under Wade Garrett. Then he hired him, right? And then after,
You got and it goes to power. Like you're right, it's a power thing.
it's
When a
a
lot of
power
these
thing.
owners, it's a power
It's a
thing.
power thing. Absolutely.
So yeah, and that speaks to my next point. Let's talk about Brian Flores and a lawsuit. So, former Miami Dolphins, we mentioned a couple times already. Head coach Brian Flores back in 2022, he had to file a class action lawsuit against the NFL for systemic racism in the NFL hiring process. He alleged that he was invited to interview for the New York Giants head coaching job after Bill Belichick had already texted him, congratulating him on the Giants. So after he texted him, congratulating him on the Giants hiring Brian Dable. Sorry, excuse me. Let me say this right. So He alleged that he was invited to interview for the New York Giants head coaching job after Bill Belichick had already texted, I think, Brian Dable, congratulating him on the Giants hiring already. So the interview took place. So before the interview took place, they had already congratulated somebody for the job. They didn't get, so it was genuinely, like Chris is talking about, a dog and pony show. You know, not to mention when he was the head coach of Miami Dolphins, there was the whole thing about the owners wanting him to lose, want to pay him to lose, and that's part of the reason why he left. Because one, he didn't want to. Two, they were trying. They had a meeting where they had an idea of trying to get Tom Brady to come to Miami,
Yes.
and
Remember I sent that to you guys in the group chat. Y'all thought I was just like bullshitting at one point. That shit ended up being in a lawsuit. I'm like,
yeah.
I told y'all niggas, I told.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of so you put a black man in charge finally in Miami to be the head coach. He has, decent results. He obviously is a leader, definitely better than the coach they had after. He's a little bit more stern too. But then you bring him on a boat and you say, hey, listen, we want to get Tom Brady to come over here. We want you to tank and lose all the rest of the games. And you're going to pay him to do that. That's collusion, bro. And honestly, the Miami Dolphins should have had heavy penalties for this. But then you have, Brian Dable, getting congratulated for the getting the job for the Giants, while Brian Flores is like on his way over there. So it showed that there was real systemic racism in the NFL because there was just going to be a dog pony show for him. It's sad. Before he even got a chance to plead his case for getting the job, they've already made a decision, and that's not how it should go. Blatantly, they made him. They made him kind of like just come out there, like he said, with a suit on and for no reason, and that's evidence that the Rooney Rule may as much as it may be well intended, it's not good enough because a lot of teams are just doing this as a formality. So
it's just that's the thing, that I really wanted to kind of harp on because, when Dion asked the question, or when Dion get asked the question and we prompted it, where does this change begin? Is it at the head coach or at the owner? And Dion's alluded to it. No, you can't tell me who to clean my house. You can't tell me what to do in my house. You can't tell me how to do things where I am at. And you got to think about right now the ticket price, the evaluation of these teams. You know what I'm saying? Jerry Jones is considered the richest man in the NFL because his team generates so much money. The buy-in, the Commanders, the buy-in for that franchise was $6.05 billion in 2023. That's the highest North American sports franchise purchase in history. That's just to buy in. And with that being said, when we're talking about the Mara family at the Giants never hiring a black head coach, for Flores thinking that he was going to be a first, mind you, we still have first in NFL, right? The first black team president was in 2022. The first black women team's president was in 2022. So Brian Flores being fucking hired, what was that, 2022? He would have been another first. It was like we're still having first in this, bro. So yeah, I see you got the text from Brian Flores, which makes him like, yeah, fuck it, I'm about to burn this up.
So he sent a text message to Brian Dable congratulating him. That was meant, to Brian Flores congratulating. That was meant for Brian Dable. So you see it right here. If you guys can see, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. This is Bill Belichick sending a text. Says, sounds like you've landed. Congrats. Did you hear something? And he's like, did you hear something I didn't hear? He's like, Giants? He said, I interview on Thursday. Saying like, nigga, I haven't even interviewed yet. Right here, he says, Coach, are you talking to Brian Flores or Brian Dable? Just making sure. He says, sorry, I fucked up. I double checked and I misread the text. I think they're naming Brian Dable. I'm sorry about that. BB, Bill Belichick. So that goes to show that the Giants really are on some
He hit
bullshit.
him with it. He hit him
He hit him with
with
the
it.
BB. And he just hit him with the thanks bill right here, as you can see the text. So that's the receipt. That is the smoking gun on the whole Rooney Rule situation, and speaks to your problems with it, right there.
Yo, my man is he's talking to his wife. He's talking to his family. He's like, yo, they want me to put that we tanked for Tua. I got him in training camp. He stinks. I have to play Ryan Fitzpatrick in the fourth quarter to get me out of the game because he stinks. And they want to put L's on my record. And they think that a loss is worth $100,000. Bro, no. Because as a black man that is 3-12, I will never get another head coaching job. If that's my record. So I have to make scraps. I have to make sure I show people that I didn't lose the locker room, that I can lead these guys. Because again, this is my reputation on the line. So he's at home. He's telling wifey this, right? He's crying on her shoulder. She's like, baby, it's going to be okay. Something else is going to pick up for you. You're a good man. You're a good head coach. Just keep applying yourself.
Honestly.
And he gets the email and saying, baby, I'm going to New York. The New York Football Giants, the legacy of that franchise, I can turn that around. They still got Saquon. They you know what I'm saying? They got Daniel Jones. Clearly, he can ball. He was an Indiana baller. He ain't no scrub. Clearly. So Brian Flores like, I got a quarterback. I got a running back. I can really make that deep. They got Dustin Lawrence still. Like, nigga, his wheels is turning. He's preparing himself. He's looking over the roster. He's looking over who's already there. He's doing his research like a good interviewee would do. And Bill sends him a text talking about, congrats, you landed. Congratulations. And my niggas, first of all, he's like, they like me that much? They already told you about me? But then he sees Dayball in this interview yesterday.
And it just happens to be another Brian. Another Brian, bro. And without it being Brian, there wouldn't be an evidence.
Yo, if this nigga name was Raheem Flores, he would not get that text. I can tell you that.
Yeah, it would not be any. It was clear as day a smoking gun of evidence that there are teams sending out, requests for interviews to black candidates, and it's not being a serious interview.
It's not being necessary.
The Giants should be ashamed of themselves, because Brian Flores is a hell of a coach, and now the fact that he has to stand on his 10 toes down and say, okay, I got to sue y'all to expose this. I respect him for that. And if it wasn't for Mike Tomlin, who knows if he would be in the league. Obviously, Mike Tomlin gave him a lifeline. He ended up working with him in Pittsburgh, and now he's working as the DC in Minnesota. So shout out to Brian Flores. I wanted him to be a Jets head coach at one point, because he deserves another shot at being a head coach. As of right now, the lawsuit is still pending.
And with that defense 2 years ago, I might have been able to do something, bro.
Word up.
He like, if I had to win games with Ryan Fitzpatrick and Tua, I could do something with Zach Wilson, nigga. Just let me in,
But Aaron Rodgers even, so who knows what would have happened if he had it, I don't know. But shout out to Brian Flores. Listen, the case is still pending. So we'll see how that turns up in the Supreme Court. I think it's the Supreme Court declined to hear the NFL's appeal on May 26th, keeping lower court ruling in place that prevents the league from forcing claims to arbitration. The case is moving forward to discovery and the potential trial in New York federal court rather than being handled internally by the NFL commissioner. On July 15th, 2026, which is we made it a week ago, District Judge Valerie Caproni rejected further attempts by teams like Miami Dolphins and Arizona Cardinals to push the claims to arbitration. Flores updated his complaint to include allegations of ongoing culture of retaliation by the league regarding subsequent hiring cycles. Detailing case documents are tracked by the Civil Rights Litigation Clearinghouse. Additional updates and ongoing coverage can be followed via US Today. They're keeping up with this, so guys, check out US Today if you want the receipts on that. Now,
You know,
no, go
oh,
ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, no,
No,
no.
no,
I was. Well, I think the we know the Rooney Rule was never designed to create black owners,
yeah, exactly. I was getting to that, yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
and it was designed to create the appearance again that a process and progress are being made where the actual decisions stayed exactly where they were supposed to be. And that's the frustrating part where where I am passionate about how these black men are then dangled a dangling of an opportunity that you'll never get. You know what I'm saying? Like yo, like fuck it, man. Like honestly, it's frustrating now knowing that there's no power in the black dollar or the black community, that we can't take our talent and create an alternate league. We got black offensive linemen, we got black defensive linemen, we got black linebackers, black wide receivers, black corners, black safeties, black quarterbacks. Right? The NFL would have to try to survive
Do
without
you
our
need,
talent.
but we need black money, like equity.
And
Because
that's where
it always
where
goes
I'm
to
frustrated with, man.
crossing the
The
picket
money.
line.
The
Are you
money.
willing to cross a picket line for more money than you've ever had in your life? And 9 times out of 10, you tell a young man, hey man, this is your dream. They don't got Super Bowl. They don't got Lombardi. They don't got the lineage, the history. They just got a new league they're starting out that they can pay you a third of what we can pay you. Is that young black man going to go ahead and be like, no, I'm going to leave out of LSU and go to this black league over here as a top draft pick?
Now, what would be a third? What would be a third of what they're paying when we know we're getting pennies on what they're getting paid right now?
Well,
If we
it-
know that
we're
like
not. That's not the NFL though. You're building this league up from ground up. You are starting. You're starting below the XFL and USFL. You have to. You're going to need a. We've seen leagues try to start up and compete with NFL. It's not worked out well for them. So the NFL is such a staple in this culture that it's like it's a structure of American society at this point.
but peep this, Chidi. Like let's follow the numbers. Like let's give this. Okay, the NFL
Oh yeah, by the way,
generates.
you said the
Yes.
one you said before earlier. I told you to look up what was that one revenue stream that was like 400 something million. Did you ever get that?
Uh,
Remember you said that was one revenue stream for a team. It was like 400 some odd
Uh,
million. That's all right. Forget
I have
about
to
it.
go through the tabs. I'll go through the tabs, but what I'll figure that out. But that goes to what I was about to get into, is that the NFL generates $20 billion annually.
Yeah.
$20 billion annual. And so of that, the NFL current media have a media rights deal of 113 billion over 11 years. They have 260 broadcasters working in the NFL. 50 of them are black. The product is 53% black. The broadcast workforce is not. The revenue goes to the franchise owners before it matriculates down into the salary. None of this is black owned. So, like, when we're talking about the money that this organization generates, $20 billion goes to 53% of black people, but how much of that percentage go to the black people? When this is a hard cap league, right? Where
Well, yeah,
they're non-guaranteed.
they're not
This is
getting
non-guaranteed. This is not getting nothing.
yeah, they're not getting, Not everybody is getting $100 million contract. Put it that way. And if you're getting $100 million contract, you are elite. Elite. You are a Mahomes, type player. You know, I'm not gonna say $1 billion is a lot of money to make in a year. One, much less 20. You know, they could pay the players more. They're fighting for more. But they could. But my point is this: if everybody's black just picked up and left, yeah, they could probably start something that garners something an interest that might make $1 billion industry. But you would have to. But the infrastructure would be operating at a loss. Put it that way. At first, and you would have to walk that path to get to the point where we are the staple, where we can get to $20 billion. Where are you gonna play? How many teams is it gonna be? There's so many different things.
But force the hand, nigga. Force the hand. You think that the NFL can replace 53% of the elite black talent?
I'm not arguing that they can replace it. I'm arguing that they can't create a new alternative, out of thin air.
I'm not. Well, why not? There is a history of somebody creating an alternative out of thin air. The reason why
it wasn't out of thin air. That's my point. I think that
was out of there was not a football league that Fitz Pollard created.
No, I'm talking about something that's okay. Today, and what Fitz Pollard did are two different things. Creating a football, getting a couple teams together, and creating a league over then it being like a community thing, and a couple places we go to the guys across town and face them. That's different than a national, damn near global enterprise where we are going from state to state. We're talking about travel time. We're talking about a hotel. We're talking about where we play and the licensing for that. We're talking about TV rights. Do we get TV deal? How do we get a TV deal? Are they even going to let us if we boycott the NFL? There's a lot of relationships that will kind of boycott the black athletes. Boycott it. So there's a whole lot of domino effect there.
Okay. So create the domino effect, brother. I'm with you, bro. I'm just keeping it a buck on what we're asking. But what we're asking is, what the fuck are we getting by not asking? You're
getting $1 million contracts. You're getting
nigga. Okay. The average. Okay, let's look.
You're right in comparison to that. But when you tell a kid coming out of college, don't make $1 million and give it to your $1 billion owners, they don't give a fuck. I've never touched this money in my life. I've never touched this money in my life. And the guys who are already in the league, who are trying to make the team and make a record or
either. These are the three options. It stays the same because it's been the same. You force their hand, which we've seen what the hands being forced have done. When there was no one there was you don't believe that the TV rights deals of the $1 billion is going to come back to those people and say, change something.
They're going to try to do it with a whole bunch of white players and Samoans. That's what they're going to do. But before we even get to that, you're not going to convince all these hundreds of black athletes who are trying to feed their families to not feed their families for something they've lived their whole life to grind for and do.
Are you grinding to go to the NFL, or are you grinding to make a living playing football? Because those are two exclusively. Because if you can make a living not playing in the NFL,
when you are certain, you are certain I can get a check, or I'm already in a contract with the NFL, I'm gonna be in breach if I leave and go to this league. Listen, if you are already in contract, you're asking a young kid like let's say Jaden Daniels to say, you know what, don't play for the Washington Commanders in that racist organization.
If part of my money's already guaranteed, fuck it, I'm out. I take what I lost in the future. I take what I got, and I maybe invest. We talk about what we can do to build Nigeria, right? Send us some money back. We said what $100 million would do for that economy. All I'm saying is if we have, I don't know how many players that is, but if they already pay dues. You
So
already pay dues.
okay,
to the
let's
NFL.
say so you don't need so you don't need all 53%. You don't need all.
I'm just saying you need all of them to probably put in. If you have somebody, what I'm saying is I know I took your.
You got Saquon Barkley playing golf with Trump. He ain't doing this. He ain't doing this. Like I mean, that's just one guy. Like I'm telling you, there's multiple reasons why a guy would not leave the NFL to start something new. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm agreeing with you. I'm on your side. I pray that this does one day become a reality where somebody says, "I want to invest like Tony Khan did in AEW and put a whole bunch of money behind a competition that is going to lose money for years before it kicks up some steam to compete with the NFL, so that it's a black-owned organization and we have black ownership of these teams." I would love for a guy like, let's say, billionaire, what's his name? Over here. I looked him up. What's his name? Man, shoot. But I would love for a black billionaire to be like, yeah, listen, I'm willing to go on this journey or give it to an investor or give it to, somebody who is passionate about this project. But that's what we're asking, is to create a AEW to the NFL. That is, and not mind you, this is bigger. This is a bigger task than AEW to WWE. This is a bigger task than AEW.
This is not a bigger for a logical place. Or since we're bringing receipts to this, from a logical stance, the owners have no incentive to budge off of what is currently happening right now. As a black player, are you taking it? I don't care who coaches me, man. Fuck it. I don't care who coaches me. I don't care who coach. Or do you care who coach you? Do you care who get to tell you how you come to the game? Do you care who gets to tell you what the meals are? Do you care what they have? They do it right now. There are ownership grades, and owners are failing by their players. F's. As the niggas are going to get checks from niggas that they do not like. And I'm like, for what? Because your average career, nigga, is 4 years.
Yeah.
And we're talking about baseline salaries that don't get you out of double-digit millions per year, bro.
Do you think some billionaire coming up and saying, yeah, we're starting this project because I'm with you on that, and literally funneling money to a black-owned football product that is going to lose money for years? Or do you feel like there's a potential that there's more teams added like Deion Sanders? Is that more likely where there is a black owner? Because I think we'll probably get that before we get the latter. I'm going to go ahead and check what you sent me, though. 1 second.
But either way, nigga, it's not going to happen without no pressure. It's not going to happen without no pressure. We talking about niggas that's buying into legacy franchises. The ticket is $6 billion. Now let's go and send what I just sent you. Nigga, there's only 27 black billionaires in the world. Less than 1%.
That we know of, yeah.
There's 3,428 billionaires in the world as of March 1st with the article that I just sent you. 27 of them are black. So we operate at a loss anyway when we have the conversation about who owns black hair care products, my nigga. We operate as a loss when we have our women spending 9 times X at fucking hair stores and it don't generate a black dollar back into the community.
No, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. Now, real quick, let me get into how ownership actually works in the NFL, and we're going to continue this conversation because you're right. This is where we want to go. but the controlling owner must own at least 30% of a team. So at least 30% for you to be the controlling owner of an NFL team. NFL rules forbid a majority owner from owning part of another NFL team. So you can't own another NFL team. 22 of the 32 teams have been owned by the same family for at least 20 years. Good Lord.
Yep.
So it's very much has been, excuse me, it's very much has been a passed down, a legacy,
Passed down legacy, yes.
business. Like it's a family business.
A family business, exactly.
Yeah, and they all know each other. So if you're dealing with this family dealing with that family for all these years, it's just how it works, The chances of us agreeing, so and there's only 10 teams that are not of a family, or has been, bought out or something. So when a team does not come to market, it goes to the highest bidder in a process where the current ownership committee effectively controls who the buyer is. The people who control the people who control who gets into the club are the members of the club, essentially. That's what we talked about before. So we can talk about the Commander sale. When Dan Snyder put the Commanders up for sale, Magic Johnson expressed serious interest in leading a group. He was not selected. Josh Harris led the team, winning a bid at $6.05 billion. Magic Johnson joined as a minority partner. The largest sale in the North American sports history, and black ownership interest was accommodated as essentially a footnote in that situation. Now, we talked before in the past about Gulf Western, as a threat. Now, Gulf Western owning Stax Records, the Knicks, Paramount, Simon & Schuster simultaneously. That was one entity owning the infrastructure of black culture at once, essentially, at that time. The NFL is the inverse. It extracts labor, passion, and cultural significance from the black community. It generates $20 billion annually, as Chris mentioned earlier, and has never allowed black person in the ownership box in 106 years. So it's a different mechanism, but the same outcome. The product is black, the profits are not. And this is the same conversation me and Chris have been having for weeks here on the Receipt Room. The NFL's current media rights deals are worth approximately $113 billion over 11 years across CBS, NBC, Fox, ESPN, ABC, Amazon, Apple, and among 260 broadcasters working in NFL, television, and radio, only 50 are black of 260 broadcasters. The product is 50% black, guys. Remember, 50% black. The broadcasters' workforce is not. The revenue goes to the franchise owners, and none of whom are black. So I get your standpoint, because I'm with you, bro. Like, if I had to get a Thanos glove and snap, I would choose your route of let's take every single black player outside of the NFL and put them in a black-owned league. Realistically, I don't know if that's going to work in today's society. One, most of the black people are going to choose the money over the cause. Look at Jay-Z. And then you see people who are now making excuses for him. We can't even have a boycott without a billionaire coming in and telling us that we are nothing, basically. You're muted, I think.
My bad. What I wanna, I think, what I would like to let people understand, and I got the numbers that you asked me, right? That I look for. I want people to understand the NFL has a salary cap of $301 million per team. Meaning, from last year to this year, they injected an extra $22 million per roster, right? And an average undrafted rookie will make $885,000. That's the minimum escalations for that. what I wanted to bring into what I was saying is the Green Bay Packers, and I'll send you the report or the video. I'll send you the video. Matter of fact, it's the Green Bay Packers. They recorded a record $753 million in total revenue for the fiscal year, driven in by national revenue sharing, local streams, and non-operating income. 453 of that was from the NFL's national revenue share. So we're talking about these broadcast deals and everything like so. These teams get a check from this for those media rights deals, and that check out of 32 teams, 31, 453 million goes back to a person. A person. The revenue sharing money that the team gets is $100 million more than the salary cap for the team, people. So what I'm trying to get people to understand is that this CBA, this collective bargaining that they're so attributed to, when people want to say break the pivot line, this is something else that I wanted to bring to you. The baseline average, AAV, for people who don't know what that is, that's average annual value, okay? Across all NFL teams. I have it per position.
Okay.
Your baseline as a quarterback, baseline, is $6.58 million.
Per year.
That's your baseline. Your top tier, $60 million, 64. Now you look at yourself in the mirror, my nigga, and you think, what career can you have? Honestly. Because that got money that can last him his life. You got 6.5 million, nigga, and you got to get that tax depending on where you play. Running backs. Let's go to y'all. Y'all niggas love fighting for your money. AAV for running backs, 1.8 million to 2.5 million. Your top tier running back is Christian McCaffrey at 20.6. Linebacker, an irreplaceable fucking. Now you need a good one. Don't get me wrong, but they come for cheap. Your AAV for a linebacker, $2 million to $3 million. Your top tier is Fred Warner at 21. Again, 21 is not life-changing money when you're talking about other sports. NBA, baseball, soccer. So what I'm telling you, nigga, pull these niggas from these sports.
But it's life-changing money, period, though.
That's true,
That's
though.
the thing.
That's true.
From where you were.
True.
That's why they can get away with it.
That's true.
You ain't going.
That's
Sorry,
true,
for Warner, you're not going to just pick up and just go to baseball after all the years you put in with football. Either you take this 21 million because it's the best.
Mike did it.
Mike is not everybody's Mike. Who the fuck? And Mike was trash. That's not, like, so like, come on, let's be real here. Not everybody's Mike. Not everybody is Deion Sanders. These are once in a freaking lifetime players. Like, it's just you don't have an option to make that kind of money, bro. And
yeah, but
you're asking a lot from these cats.
What I'm saying is okay. Realistically, I'm listening to you right now, Chidi. Me and you right now. Life changing or life altering. Those are two different words. $1 million is life altering money for us right now. It alters life. I believe we can't eat off $1 million for our life.
I think it changes us with the opportunity to change it further. I mean, it alters. If you're talking about life change, if life changing is mean for life, I don't think life changing is for life. Life changing money is life changing money. If my life changes, $1 million, my life's gonna change.
Okay, we're talking semantics. Okay,
I'm not gonna be granted. Like, I'm not gonna be like a crazy, like,
So let's just use this. Let's just use it as an example. Let's just rookie scale to second contract. Second contract is life-changing money.
Okay, yeah.
Rookie scale is life-altering money. And that's why you see a lot of people talk about how these young players spend their money, because you never know what can happen. And there's, again, NFL. We're talking specifically NFL now.
Yeah.
This is a you in, you out league.
Yeah.
You won, you done league.
Yeah.
Like this is we forget you because we replace you. Like you get that rookie money, and we watch people talk about Joe Hayden. God bless his soul. He said, everybody's seen I signed for $50 million. Automatically, $30 million. Because $20 million is taxes, agent fees, whatever. So you talk about now I have to live off of $30 million over, lifetime. Then he said, I fuck around and gave my mom some money, bought my mom a house, and I'm like, damn, that went pretty fast. Yeah. The thing that you thought can change your life, if not, and again, like you said, to your point of these young cats are taking opportunity and don't know about the opportunity about equity and ownership or financial literacy.
You're 100% right. I mean, but you rather have $1 million than not, and that's where I'm coming from. You rather have $1 million than not. Then somebody say, "Hey, listen, we're gonna start this new thing up, but we're gonna give you a contract of, less than you were getting NIL, and you expect the kid to go there instead of NFL? Hell no. You're gonna take that $1 million. Take my chance. Oh, now all the black people that were ahead of me in my quarterback room are going to that. Let me step up and be a cornerback for the, New York Giants, or, I'm taking the $1 million they're offering me. Listen, black people are not a monolith. So I think that I would love for all black people to band together for a lot of different causes in America. We've proven that we are disorganized. We've proven that we don't have what it takes to really listen. There are people calling the slave master on people running away as slaves. Black people were doing that. How are we gonna expect all the black people to wake up and be like, you know what? I really care about ownership and the future of black people, putting their bodies on the line.
Well, it only really honestly takes a certain amount of people who do care. So when you have Jaylen Brown in basketball or Steph Curry in basketball talk about or LeBron James in basketball talk about we deserve equity stake in these franchises that we move $500 million for with the signature of our pen saying that we come into that franchise. Like LeBron James at 42 years old is documented that he moved $260 million for Philly.
Okay.
For what it's about to do for the economy.
So what's your point?
That deserves equity. That player
for sure.
deserves equity. So when you say players don't need to, but what I'm saying is it only takes certain people to put that in the atmosphere. So in football,
it takes somebody to sacrifice, and niggas don't want to sacrifice. Let's be real. Even LeBron, he might sacrifice a tweet. He ain't gonna sacrifice his connections and his relationships, and he's not. Neither is Steph. I don't believe Steph is gonna do it. Jaylen Brown, maybe. I don't think he's gonna do that either, though. But it has to be for a cause worth standing for.
But this goes back to the connections. The connections are these powerful people that are owners. So again, if we are in this situation where we can't even break free and understand it as we are powerful and don't use that as leverage, then we ain't never gonna get. If LeBron can't see his leverage, if Steph Curry can't see his leverage, and look at Joe Lacob with Golden State and be like, yeah, nigga, I would never leave here if you give me 10% stake in it, or 3% stake of the organization, 5% stake of the organization. Like that, do you like that? Will the portfolio of that black man Now, I don't necessarily like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and
It's a good thought, and I hope he does get it. They do deserve it, and I pray that's where we're moving. We'll see. Well, I'm a wait and see type of guy when it comes to that. But when you're right when you're talking about using your equity that we do have. And I think we have over here a three-layer solution that we as viewers and me and Chris can start to enact and try to put our money in the right place. We always talk about know where your money is going, and know where you're putting your money and what you're giving your attention to. So the NFL, as we mentioned, generates 20 billion revenue in 2023. I'm sure it's more now. Um, we want you guys and us to know where our money goes, and that goes to knowing where your jersey dollars go. You gotta know, who you're watching and who profits from what you're watching. So essentially, the Fritz Pollard Alliance grades every team annually on hiring practices. You guys can look this up. You can look up your team grade. If you genuinely care about this, look up your team's grade. Let's see if we can pull that up actually.
I don't know if we can get I've been trying to find the team grade for but I ended up finding the other ESPN joint. Oh shit! I did the wrong copy and paste. I've been trying to search that on the back end of trying to find the grades, but I couldn't get it. I ended up getting the other grades though, the report cards. That's how I knew how the owners got Fs and stuff like that by the players. But I didn't find the Fitz Pollard one.
All right, let me go ahead and see if I can pull it up.
Yeah, man, I think not only just black players deserve equity of what the team generates. I would love for all players to receive. I mean, you got to think about it. It's only how many players is in the NFL? Okay. How many players are in the NFL, and could it be possible for all players to receive an piece of I mean, they already break down the revenue stream, but again, like the owners don't always foot the bill for stadiums, right? That's publicly funded money. So the
Yeah.
owners, all the owners really do is cut the check for the salary cap, but the salary cap is getting paid by TV rights deals. So
Oh,
again,
okay.
niggas is turning into TV to watch me, nigga. It ain't because you paid me to be here, realistically. You know
Okay,
what I mean? So
so you can't find it per team for the racial hiring practice for the Fritz Pollard Alliance. What you can find is like the overall league grade.
the
So
overall league
yeah,
grade,
so yeah,
yes.
they got assistant coaches A plus, NFL league office A plus, senior team administration is B, head coaches and general managers C, team presidents and CEOs C, and team ownership obviously is an F. For racial and hiring and practices. Um, they don't do team by team because the team owners operates as an independent business, and the alliance uses the collected data to pressure NFL to change league-wide policy rather than publicly grading individual clubs. Okay, okay, my bad. But yeah, you still should know where your money is going, and if you stand by what the team that you're choosing and their racially hiring practices and all that stuff. And it says the most realistic near-term lever is expansion. So the most realistic way to get black ownership in NFL is expansion. If the NFL adds teams, public pressure and NFLPA leverage could push for meaningful ownership requirements. The NFLPA has never used collective bargaining to press for ownership diversity. That conversation has not been had yet. So, do you believe that the NFLPA could do that? Could start to have those conversations on, let's say, their
Well,
ownership
go ahead. The
conversation,
conversation
like
yeah,
just
because the reason why I'm bringing this up, okay, so I just looked it up. The player equity versus team profits, right? The NFL per team, roughly 600 million to 750 million annual revenue. That's per team. The strict salary cap, again, we mentioned is $301 million. If they were, if this is what this is what I asked, and this can be presented, a micro share model. If a team valued at $6 billion distributed a combined 2% equity pool to the active 53-man roster, that pool will be worth $120 million.
That pool. So
that
they'd be
pool,
divided against.
It'd be divided against a 53-man roster, right?
How much was the equity? And how much was it?
If it was 2% equity, a 2%, just 2%. And so this would be the caveat, right? Because equity represents ownership value and not cash paid out, a player will be given a sliver of a stock that does not reduce the team's annual cash flow. So therefore, again, a player can leave the NFL no matter if he's played in at one team, multiple teams, but he would have left with equity for every team he played for, and then be able to either keep that and roll that over because the NFL clearly is 100 years, or at some time you need to pull that out, or whatever the case may be, like a regular. That will be something that does not hurt the NFL one iota and will benefit players of all, not just black players, all players. So I know we talk about the black players, but that will for all. And the value roughly for a 53-man roster of the $120 million pool, $2.26 million of equity per player. And we just said that the fucking a team went for $6 billion. So just think about the Washington Redskins right now. The Washington Commanders right now. They don't have to give Jalen Daniels no more money. You pay him his salary, you stay at the hard cap, but you give him an equity share in that now then gives him ownership and pride, and now I want to do stuff. Now I'm not a slave. Now I'm not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
If they did that for every single player, though, at some point, doesn't the 2% either or gets divvied up more, or they have to add more percentage to make sure that?
To realistically, that money will grow in equity. If the evaluation of a team, because my equity's in the team.
Equity's in the team.
Okay. So
But
again, if go ahead,
you're getting a sliver of the 2%, right?
I'm getting the sliver of stock. I'm getting the stock in the franchise. I'm putting my sliver with my 2.26 million will be given to me as a stock in that team. So if that team then sells in 5 years and the valuation is $9 billion, if my shit then rolled over, then yeah, pay me my shit.
Do you think you can do that for every single player that comes into your office?
So they have right now they say as of today, players cannot receive equity share. The NFL has incredibly strict ownership guardrails. So the ownership is the ownership thing, right? It's anti-salary cap circumvention rule. The NFL explicitly bans teams from giving players corporate stock, equity, or team ownership. The league views equity as a hidden way to pay star players extra money outside of the strict salary cap. Private equity expansion. While the NFL recently voted to allow select institutional private equity firms to buy up to a 10% stake in teams, this right was exclusively granted to approved investment funds, not player unions like the NFLPA. So the NFLPA can't even get together and put 10% in. You know what I'm saying? So when you ask, what is that? So there, to your point of the real world challenge of the high roster turnover, the average NFL career just lasts 3.3 years. If a player is cut or traded after 6 months, do they keep their stock forever? A complex vesting schedule requiring 3 or 4 years of service to keep equity will be required, which they do that in a real job anyway. If you've ever, we worked at Alight together, right? When you get your 401k,
Yeah.
you have to work there a year or two before it's fully vested to where they go ahead and pay and or match you. You know what I'm saying? You'll pay into it until you're fully vested. They don't fully match you. You know what I'm saying? So, and then the valuation gap. Equity in the Dallas Cowboys is valued over $10 billion. It's worth vastly more than equity in lower revenue franchises. This will create an unfair competitive advantage as top free agents will only sign with the most valuable franchises to get the richest stock options. If a player owns a stock of Team A but gets traded to Team B, they legally own a piece of their direct competitor. To fix this, equity will likely have to be issued in a league-wide pool rather than individual team stock. So
Okay.
we can pay into a league-wide pool again that generates 20 billion, and then disperse that to people who have had a year of service or played X amount of games or played X amount of snaps. Or now you got niggas that will, get fucked over. But again, if you play, you play. Niggas get fucked over anyway. You know what I'm saying? So, but to get your shit fully vested, you have to be on a roster from training camp to the end of the year. That's fully vested or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But there are options for us to change the dynamic and the power structure other than like, if again, to buy into a franchise is $6 billion, right? The wealthiest black billionaire in the world is only worth $28 billion. Now I say only worth. Now, no, I don't want to disrespect that man. Only worth means he is the 86th ranked overall billionaire in the world. So
I mean, out of 3,000, and that's not bad, whatever.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
But
Out of
yeah,
3,000
but it's still,
billionaires,
6 billion cuts me a lot to that. 6 billion. And mind you gotta probably like liquidate everything to even try.
That's the thing. You do have to. That is what they do. They test they do a financial vetting, right? They do. Do you have enough liquidity?
That's
Do
to
you
own it
have a lot of
outright,
cash
though.
reserves? What'd you say?
That's to own it outright or for partner. That's because if
I'm not sure if that's the owner outright or partner, but it's a mandate for the owner votes. I do see that, right? They have a reputation control. Owners block buyers with controversial backgrounds, legal troubles, or active gambling ties. Business alignments. Assistant owners want partners who agree on collective revenue sharing, stadium financing strategies, and labor union negotiations. Again, we're not going to let nobody in here who's going to go against the labor union structure that we've already established for 106 years. You know what I'm saying? So to Dion's point, I don't know if they're going to let Dion get in unless Dion gives the real argument that, or the handshake, I'll control. They'll listen to me. I'll control. Unless that's the conversation, I don't see no nigga like Dion.
They don't want no freaking riots. They don't want no walkouts. So yeah, it's an interesting thought. Whether it's the stock options situation, a black billionaire coming in to the rescue, or if it's just the NFLPA making requests for and pushing for minority ownership in the league. It does seem not impossible, but it does seem like it's gonna be very difficult to get any real type of minority owner, like black ownership in NFL for a while. Put it that way.
Do you not think that we can, with all the production companies, television companies, cameras, we can broadcast. I know it's broadcast, right? But the internet is free, right? Like you think that they will block us from the internet? You know what I mean? Like,
What you mean?
well, like as far as like you said, where would we be shown if there was a black league? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying, do you not
I
think that
mean,
there's a
you can make a feed, you can make a feed. It matter, but where's the money coming from? That's the thing.
So I just looked it up, and they're said to successfully rival the NFL today, a league founded by black players and billionaires, investors, or players in general. Who shout out to our players who want to be down for the cause. We don't make it, we don't want to alienate nobody. If you want to come along, come along. You know what I'm saying? To execute a capital and corporate coup, it would take because the NFL operates a $20 billion annual direct. Okay. A competitive blueprint will require 4 distinct operational phases. 1, secure a $15 billion capital syndicate. A traditional billionaire is not wealthy enough to fight the NFL alone, so building a new league requires multi-billionaire syndicate combining black-owned private equity, venture capitalists, tech money, all that. Fund a 3-year war chest. It requires roughly $15 billion in liquid capital to build 8 to 10 franchises, buy out stadium leases, and absorb massive initial operating losses.
Exactly.
Guarantee long-term stability. What'd you say?
Exactly what I was saying.
Yeah, but I mean, 15 billion. I mean, okay. So let me finish. Failed predecessors like the XFL and 2026 USFL struggled because they operated on small budgets with developmental level talent. The new league must have the funds to pay top tier salaries immediately. Exactly like you said. Right? So execute a live golf style talent approach. Right? A football league is only as good as its players. Fans follow star athletes, not corporate logos. Target star quarterbacks. The syndicate must bypass middle tier players and directly sign 5 to 7 elite culture defining NFL quarterbacks. Pat, LJ, CJ. Hey, Josh, you down to come? We need one white boy. You know what I'm saying? But we need top tier star quarterbacks, offer direct equity and generational wealth. New league must weaponize the NFL's strict anti-equity rules by offering players true equity ownership in franchise or league itself. Stars become business partners rather than employees.
Okay.
So if the stars
Sure.
come over, like we talking about these guys that already got some money in the bank, like getting guaranteed. Let's say if they already guaranteed $100 million, they like, yo, all right, I'll put $5 million to bring myself, or $10 million to bring myself up per month, and I want stake in the league to grow. Something like that, and the players of that ilk to do something like that, combined with the billionaire money to do. Okay, so okay. Pay double the market value. The league must offer massive upfront cash bonuses and fully guaranteed contracts that completely outbid the NFL's average annual value. So we have to double the annual AAV that we just talked about. You have to form a streaming first media alliance. The NFL's greatest strength is its multi-billion-dollar broadcast partnership with traditional TV networks. The new league must look into the future of media, partner with tech giants rather than chasing networks. Which again, they're already tied up in it. So we got to find some people who's not, or who want to take a chance, or
Kick.
you own the digital distribution. What'd you say?
Kick.
Or
Twitch.
or you own the digital distribution. By building a direct to consumer streaming model without regional blackouts, the league can attract younger tech focused fans globally. And then the last step, the fourth step, weaponize cultural capital and civil rights, because roughly 56 to 60% of NFL players are black. A league backed by black billionaires and prominent athletes could change the narrative around sports ownership. Shift the ownership narrative. The league can directly criticize the NFL's lack of diversity at ownership level, promoting a league built on black wealth creation, equity distribution, systemic empowerment, which generate massive cultural support and dominate the fan base, aligning the league with major, music labels, fashion houses, cultural influences will turn every game into, entertainment, capturing the cultural relevance of the NFL consistent. So it's not it's not an out of sight thing to do if you get the right structure, people like you mentioned Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown has made over $220 million in his career. For Jaylen Brown to link up with with a black billionaire and somebody that has real focus, and him saying, "Yo, I'm putting 50 million up front," which ain't nothing, but a basketball player who has guaranteed money might then LeBron James or somebody. I know he won a basketball team, but you talking about a player with some power, some sway, some movement. You would
need some real revolutionary
you would need some real
vision,
exactly,
visionaries to combine like Voltron and say, yeah, we're going to put some money behind it and can come and do something that has not been able to be done by anybody, and that is compete with the NFL. Vince McMahon couldn't do it, the USFL couldn't do it. What makes you think this group is going to do it? And they would have to really, make the linchpin a real pitch to transform what this is.
But we got a guy like Robert F. Smith, who's again, he's fifth on our list of billionaires.
I was talking about earlier.
$10 billion. But he announced the grant that would eliminate student debt for the entire class of Morehouse in 2019. At that point, right? We have people that do believe. Maybe we get somebody like Michael Jordan, Oprah Winfrey, I don't think Jay-Z, but with his partnership with the NFL. But if the NFL piss him off enough, he might go against the grain.
He said they can't control him. I mean, if you really want to prove to us that they can't control you, hey Jay-Z, maybe this is something you should think about.
Magic Johnson, LeBron James, he's a billionaire at 1.4. Tyler Perry's a billionaire at 1.4.
But you need 15 billion.
Yeah, I'm saying it's a collective, bro.
No. But you're right. But the likelihood of getting 15 billion black people say, like, yeah, I'm putting my and make this reality.
You don't have to. My thing is now. This is where I extrapolate. Right now, you don't have to make it all of your liquid or cash as a person that wants to invest. If we have a legit, again, like you said, a Voltron or I'm looking at this list out of 27 people, the 27 billionaires, Rihanna, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Dr. Dre, and LeBron, they all know each other. Right. So what I'm saying is the collective is it's the collective of money or people or relationship is already there as a billionaire club. And extract that to 100 millionaire club that will want to that can.
Is it possible? Something. Yes. Is it plausible? I don't think so. Because you have to be extremely delusional at this point to do almost to a fault to do this. It is extreme. It's an extreme risk to put billions of dollars into a league where you need talent that may not willing be to move over and be part of your league. So Patrick Mahomes, you're gonna need so much. We're just talking about the money. Forget about the money. Getting the player to move over to your league is a must for this to work. And
I mean, it's not like it hasn't been done with the AFL merger, the ABA merger. What I'm saying is that there have been people.
A merger is not the same. This is not a merger. This is quite exactly the opposite of a merger.
What I'm saying is people did not play in the big league. They had a league that was created on their own. What I'm saying is that league had to have the visionary to then create, to then have the
merge. Absolutely.
Right, so my point is
like that the business models today versus the business models of the 1950s 20s is very, very.
I think it's more advantageous right now. Again, with the reason why the reason why the belief is there. I know because we're talking about again legacy. The NFL is legacy. I understand that. But what I'm saying is that what is it really offering when we're having a conversation when they're pulling back the money that they pay for concussions? You will play in the NFL. And the place that you giving your life to, the place that you like you said, all my life I wanted to play for the NFL. Okay, you get to the NFL. When you leave the NFL, they don't even want to give you a settlement.
You're right. I'm with you, bro.
You know what I'm saying? So like
I
what
get
I'm
it.
saying is that at
So you
what
think
point
that's
in
gonna be
time
enough
do you like
to pull away
I don't
top talent
I don't
quarterbacks?
I don't know what will I don't know what again a top tier quarterback. It's going to have to take somebody like Dak Prescott that don't want to go through negotiation with Jerry Jones to get his chicken. Nigga, you get shit or get off the pot, my nigga. You're not about to treat me like I'm Brian Flores. What's your better option? Brian Dayball, bitch? You let him go in 2 years. Fuck, nigga. You know what I'm saying? So Jerry Jones, you gonna let me go to get who? Kirk fucking Cousins, you bitch ass nigga? Pay me my 60 million. You know what I'm saying? That's where niggas are going to get enraged.
You're going to
at.
need
And then they're
to
like,
weaponize
like,
their
for
frustration with the
sure.
process, but I don't think that once this other option even is hinted at, that
Like,
they're not going to pay these players and convince them to stay. It's not
this is
happening. You saw what happened with
well, only thing I'm saying this is that Pat
AEW
Mahomes
and
looking at
WWE.
well, okay, Pat
It was a
Mahomes for the
monopoly
Kansas City
until it
Chiefs.
wasn't, and then the money went up significantly.
Pat Mahomes for the Kansas City Chiefs is worth what to the Kansas City Chiefs? Not his salary.
More than a salary.
Not his exactly. So you think that at what point in time is the best quarterback in the league going to stop taking pay cuts so his owner can do what? Get more chicken? I'm taking a pay cut so you can get more chicken? And you telling me that there ain't no salary cap circumvention, my nigga? Like, let's
Patrick
keep it real.
Mahomes, I'm not trying to knock the guy, but to me, seems like a Drake type of nigga. When you talk about ownership and it's your time to leave and go independent, he's a guy who's going to say, you know what, I've been working here, I'm consistent, my family's here, I'm going to take the money and keep everything stable. I'm not going to gamble.
Texas boy.
I'm not going to gamble. I think he ain't gambling. He gonna stick around.
He a Texas boy. He I ain't gonna hold you.
I disagree.
Every nigga, bro. I want to show you Desmond Bane's Barnadorium.
Who the fuck is this?
Desmond Bane played college at TCU, a basketball player you never heard of. He got a max contract of $220 million in the NBA. Because he played for Texas and, you know, NIL under the table or whatever the case may be, this nigga got so much land. He just got so what I'm saying is the advantage, like you have somebody, again, that will understand the leverage, that will understand the bit, like unless he's getting in with the casino, unless Patrick Mahomes got a stake in Kansas City money coming in from Missouri, lottery, nigga, you gotta pay me more than what this for, nigga. You telling me my AAV is up there with Dak Prescott? Are you fucking kidding me?
I don't see it, man.
Shit,
I don't
that
see
ain't no
it.
Drake type, but no Drake type, nigga.
You're fading out.
I said, ain't no way. Looks at his paycheck and look at Dak paycheck and think that they deserve the same paycheck.
It don't matter. I just don't see him as that type of dude. Also, I just think there's a lot more that goes into this type of decision and the future. It's a huge gamble. Shit, AEW was a gamble. They're still losing money. At some point,
they're losing money because they don't know how to. They don't know what they're. They don't have a real vision
out, bro. And this is the NFL.
That's not. That's their. No, first and foremost, AEW had national television. They had nationally recognized talent. They did it wrong. They did it wrong.
They were going to lose money for
They
the first couple of years anyways, even if they did it right.
exactly.
And,
That was
and,
the,
and to
exactly.
be
So
quite honest, they didn't do bad. Right? They would be gone by now if they did it completely wrong. You
that's
know,
what I'm saying. So
but
they books got balanced out
so you're
somehow.
asking somebody or a group of people to sign up for that, and that's not
Well,
an easy
Chidi, what I'm
ask.
no Chidi, what I'm asking is that for black, what I'm so this started with, what I'm asking for is for not only black talent, black coaches, Lewis Riddick, black GMs, black presidents who
I
don't get
know.
the opportunity to then take a part in this. Yes, create a BSPN, Black Sports Entertainment, nigga, whatever they create. We have enough journalists. We have enough talent we to put on our own. And you just said it before we was on the thing. It was like, yo, I'm so mad about Nigeria because we shouldn't be close there. We should be there, nigga. We in America as black Americans while niggas is making hundreds of millions of dollars and we still complaining about black coaches. Like, yes, we should be advanced here as well. Like that's the issue, and niggas just play the get along game and like, yeah, well, yeah, I'm Jalen Carter. I made $138 million. Nigga, get like me, nigga. You got in trouble before you got to the league. You had to get straightened out, and I don't believe you don't get straightened out if you don't have black people around you. Now go ahead and look at the Philadelphia fucking staff. Look at the ownership. Look at the G. Do you have black people around you guiding you now? Yes, they gave you the money, but who helped you steer yourself back into the lane to get you that money? Your black family, your black coaches, your black teammates around you. And you want to, like, no, something got to click at some point. Something legitimately got to click. You gotta take a loss because all that money ain't coming with you anyway, my nigga. Hello, taxes. Hello, jock tax. Hello, I play in California. Hello, nigga. Like what we talking about? Everybody want to play for the Rams. No, you don't.
So who do you want to play for?
Nigga, they said it. You fuck around and give equity stake in the Cowboys, nigga. Let me put my fucking jersey back on. Or play,
We,
you know.
I think,
But I think equity,
I think we're at
and the
a
legacy franchises are great. If
we
you have equity as a Bear, that's great. If you have equity as a Packer, equity as a Giant, equity as a Jet, like I think
yeah,
paying a league wide pool would be great.
I think we've hit an impasse. I think that we genuinely have to see how things, fall out. One thing for sure is that me and you tend to be ahead of the game and ahead of the conversation a lot. And I just hope that we can see more of this conversation moving forward. Because as much as they try to rip down diversity, equity, and inclusion, it's not going to go away. We're not going away. So if they rip us that down and they're showing you what they want here in America, that's why I bring up Nigeria. That's why I bring up, hey, us collectively working together to build our own stuff. But when you tend to do that in America, they tend to stack the deck against you either way, no matter what. So I think that anything that's a threat to the institutions that they deem as an American, white American staple, like the NFL, there's going to be oppositions that you don't anticipate, much less just the stark roll ahead of, you know, the marketing and the relationships that you're not going to be able to use with these network companies. But I'm not saying it's impossible. Um, and if not, then yes, the equity within the teams might be a way to circumvent and get some more ownership for the
Or
players,
equity,
at least directly to the players.
or in the league. I
I
think
can't.
that I said or equity within the league. I
Yeah,
think
league
the
wide,
teams
like
think I
stop,
think
like you were mentioning.
the team might be a thing, but yeah, if annual revenue 2% of what's 2% of 20 billion? What is 2%?
That's 2 billion, 20 billion.
Yeah, the annual revenue NFL is 20 million.
What was that? Isn't that what? Is that what? 4 billion? No, it's like 2 million, right? 2 billion.
We went long. 2% billion.
You're breaking up big time, bro.
What? Hello?
Yeah, you're better.
Hello. Can you hear me, man?
Yeah.
2% of 20 billion is 400 million to be distributed amongst the players. So if we broke that down,
Okay, my bad.
active roster of 1,696 players. If that's restricted solely to the 53 active players on all 32 teams, each player receives an additional $235,849. Again, fucking pennies.
Per year.
Pennies a year. 2% equity of $400 million is fucking pennies, bro.
But then next year it will be 4. Right? It goes up each year.
What next? No, I mean no. What goes up is the pool. So that your equity, so
pool.
again, if you're a 10-year vet, you know 10% throughout your 10 years, but you've seen the valuation of the leagues, the stuff grow. So yeah, nigga, come be my nigga. What's the max you gonna give me? What's the max? Do you want me to extrapolate this out for? Let's extrapolate the revenue of 5 years. 2% of $1 billion is still what? $1 million that they gonna give out to each player? An extra $1 million? Like a full roster and practice squad. Now, if
Then
they
you gotta
did
ask, are
combine
you satisfied with that?
You say?
You know what I like about that? That's going to the players. It's not like, oh, a black owner.
It's going directly to the players.
You know,
Yes.
I like that. It's not like, because one black owner is still one black guy. You know, I just want these guys to not be used for making just rich white men richer. You know, and that's my thing. You know, and if that's going to be the case, like, let's see how a black organization is ran too. You know.
Yeah, man. I think we have a real deal plan that I think can,
Potentially, quell some of our concerns when it comes to NFL ownership. But now, we know who owns it. A lot of them are families. It's a good old boy system. When it comes to hiring, we touched on everything that goes to all the way back to Fritz, and what he fought for. And we're just trying to move the cause forward right now and have that conversation, because it's not a conversation that's being had quite enough in the media, and with the tax on diversity, equity, and inclusion, I think it's necessary for us as we gear up for the NFL season to bring this to light and to put this, the spotlight on this. We have guys like Jackson Dart where it's just too easy to stand by and act like what's going on in America is not going on, and embrace the NFL. So I can just turn on a New York Giants game and watch this guy while what's going on in America, and just not take into account what I'm watching. Why, I can just let Jay-Z work with them and just make his money and discount Kaepernick's what he intended to do with his movement and his boycott and him taking a knee. Listen, I think we're in a really pivotal time where you're going to need to be wise on what you are consuming and why. And if you are going to consume it, question every single thing you do about that entertainment or whatever source you are watching and consuming, because your dollars, your eyes, your attention are being monetized. And if you are going to be monetized, at least don't be ignorant when it comes to what you're being monetized on.
Absolutely. Damn, this is a great conversation. I got some more numbers, but we gonna wrap this up, man.
No.
I'll tell it to you. I'll tell it to.
Okay.
I literally I just asked like how would a major corporation plan handle such high turnover? Like I have these questions, like you know what I mean, like
You might
and
need to do a part two
they
on this as the
yeah,
year
yeah,
goes
yeah.
on. You know.
We can do a part two because, bro, an average fourth round draft pick can walk away with $500,000 in total equity value if he's under his standard 3 year job, being his 3 year rookie contract, and he's fully vested. The 3 year corporate vesting model, assuming steady 10% annual increase like the NFL has been accumulating into yo. 200,000 can get your boy year to year to year by the time he's out of there and accumulated some more money. So he's really well off,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
if he's done
By the
his
time
money
he's out
right with
there,
his
yeah. If he, if they cut him or something, you know.
exactly, so you gotta make it. They said like fully like Walmart, Amazon, and stuff like that. You gotta make it your 4 year. You get 0% vested interest your 4 year. There's a 1 year cliff to insure it. The league valuation growth is 10 year, but
He ain't
year
just paying
end you get
anybody.
to walk away.
Yeah.
Yo, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. You
Yeah,
get your
man.
first payout your year 2. You put money in year 1, just like regular investing. You make it through the roster, you make it through the team. You come back that next year, you start training camp. Are you on opening day roster? If you're on opening day roster, 50% unlocks. That's the motto.
Yeah, I like it, man. I like it, man. Listen, we're gonna have to double back on this, another time, give y'all more information on how the business model could work if they implemented this in the future with the NFL, and we'll see what happens with
Shit,
the
man.
Rooney Rule as we,
Or they can put us on board of the new league, man. We educated black brothers, man. We got our head on our shoulders. We visionaries, bro.
we are
You
visionaries.
know what I'm
Probably not
saying?
gonna happen, but we are visionaries. They'll probably just steal our shit and get a real accountant.
Well, I mean, shout out to Darius Lockhart. He got his shit. He got his shit stolen. Still created a wrestling promotion. I say, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, shout out to him.
and again, like it ain't competing with the AEW or competing with the WWE, but it is something for us, by us. And and then all it takes is one. Fuck around. They do Trick Williams bad. They got some money from Trick. I'm following Trick. I love Trick where he go, cuz.
Yeah,
You know
for
what I'm
sure, for
saying?
sure.
You
For
know what I
sure.
mean?
I don't
So
think listen. You gotta have the money for Trick because he's big. He's box office. But yeah, that's what we want. But yeah, man. Listen, guys. Thank y'all if y'all been joining us for tonight. I think it's been a really good episode. I really had a fun time talking this, NFL ownership conversation. I think I learned a lot tonight. I hope y'all did. Chris, you got anything to say before we get up out of here?
no, man. Thank you guys for staying 3 hours with us, man. But anytime we start talking about sports, talking about money, and we have a genuine back and forth, man, it can get like this. So
Yeah, for sure.
thank y'all for tuning in.
Thank
Teeny,
y'all.
my bad. We went long today.
It's all good. It's all good, man. It's all love. Everything is everything. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, hit the likes, hit the comments, because we want to know what y'all are going to say about this too. So please keep the conversation going because it's necessary. And always, always, always keep love in your hearts and spirit and mind so we can get some of these changes in the world that we need to get going. With that being said, we'll see y'all tomorrow with another episode of Everything Is. Peace out.
Peace.